4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I'm Christine Lisi. It's win of the season's over for the Timberwolves tonight, down 3-0. Minnesota's at Dallas for Game 4 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals. Fatigue likely one factor for a Wolves team in the conference finals for the first time in 2 decades. 3-time NBA champion Udonis Haslem.
Inexperience, I think, a little bit has to do with Ant-Man running out of gas a little bit. I understand that, you want to take the challenge of both ends and you want to be the guy to guard Kyrie. But it's a little bit different when a guy's going off 60 pick and rolls. You got to get over, you got to get under, you got to get through, and then you got to create all the offense on the other end. So I think Ant-Man got a little fatigued mentally and physically. And I also think Cat just has to shoot a little better.
Udonis Haslem on unsportsmanlike. Anthony Edwards averaging 22 points. His field goal percentage in this series under 39%. Game 4 West Finals, 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio. NHL East Final down 2-1. Panthers host the Rangers tonight in Game 4, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Lexi Thompson, one of the biggest stars in women's pro golf the last 15 years, announced that this will be her final season competing full-time on the LPGA Tour.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tompley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do. Regional field is set. LSU football adds another transfer. Saints defensive end has a torn Achilles. A lot to do. We'll get to it all here over the next 3 hours, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, LSU got about as good a draw as we possibly could have hoped for. First of all, it was a great week in Hoover. And I hope that doesn't come across as hyperbolic. LSU 1 week ago today, on Monday, 1 week ago today, we're going to Hoover feeling like you had to win at least that game against Georgia to guarantee yourself a postseason berth. LSU went on and won 4 games in Hoover. It was a great week in Hoover. I know it didn't end the way we wanted. Tigers fall short to Tennessee 4-3 in the championship, and there's a lot we could talk about because that loss stinks, and I get it. It stinks because Nate Ackenhausen was absolutely dealing, but Jay had made up his mind. He was going one time through the lineup. You know what type of discipline it takes to know you've got an SEC championship you're competing for, and your pitcher, 6 of the first 8 outs he records are via strikeout, and you go pull him as they're turning the lineup over because you realize there's more to come, more important games to come? Amazing discipline by Jay Johnson. Yeah, it stunk watching Steven Milam get back-picked with the bases loaded. Yeah, it stunk having the tie-and run on second base in the 9th inning. Larson Milazzo strikeout, you don't put a ball in play. That stinks. You know what doesn't stink? LSU's draw. And hopefully at the end of the next 1, 2, 3 weeks of baseball, we're really excited about where this Tiger team is and where the season ends up. Jay Johnson had bigger goals, and he kept them in mind, and I completely respect that. The draw. So I got a call on a Sunday night basically telling me what LSU's draw was going to be, and it played out that way. LSU gets Wofford as the 2-3 matchup in the Chapel Hill Regional. If you manage to beat Wofford, I presume North Carolina, win this regional, you're paired with Tucson. Yes, there's a cool tie because that's Jay's former school. The other thing that I was told on Sunday night is that LSU did, in fact, put in a host bid. Now, this is something that a lot of people, there might be some confusion about as to who would host in the super regional round if it got there. Teams have to put in a bid to host to even be eligible to host in the super regional round. LSU was most definitely not going to be a regional host this year. They put the bid in anyway for this possibility. So consider if LSU does win the Chapel Hill Regional, and North Carolina and LSU are effectively betting co-favorites. I think North Carolina's -110, LSU's +110. They're basically co-favorites. If Arizona is upset in Tucson by either West Virginia or Dallas Baptist, LSU will host the super regional round at the box. So they may not be done turning the lights on at the box after all. Again, it's a big if. You have to go win your regional, and there has to be an upset in Tucson. But even if there isn't an upset in Tucson, that's about as favorable a matchup as you could hope for, since you don't have to go to an SEC super regional. Happened to LSU 2 years ago, or 2019, Maneri's final year, where, or 21, where LSU went and won the Eugene Regional and then had to go to Knoxville for the super regional. That stinks. Trust me, I think we'd all agree. You'd rather go to Tucson than to Knoxville or Fayetteville or College Station or Lexington. So, yeah, I think this is a great draw for LSU. When you look at the teams in this field, North Carolina, I talked to a scout buddy last night who compared North Carolina to Ole Miss. Let that sink in for a second. Now, you may roll your eyes at that, and I get it, because they're the number 4 national seed, and they won the ACC, and they've got pedigree there. But their 1-2 punch, North Carolina's 1-2 punch on the mound, is a true freshman and a transfer from Elon. Now, they've pitched well, but the ACC has not been this year what the ACC has been in past years. Wofford, the game you draw on Friday. Wofford can hit. Their team batting average is .340. They've also played one Power 5 opponent all year, one. They played Georgia and got run ruled 18-8. So I like this draw a lot, and I don't know anything about Long Island, and I don't care. I like this draw a lot for LSU. You have a winnable super regional, be it in Tucson or at home, if you're able to go and win this regional at North Carolina. And ultimately what it's going to come down to, very likely, is that marble game. I think LSU is going to beat Wofford, and then it's going to be LSU North Carolina in the marble game. If you're able to win it, you're going to go on and win that regional and probably have a path paved in asphalt to Omaha if you're able to do it. I know there are 2 questions I've been asked the most, I think, over the last 24 hours or thereabouts. Number 1, what is LSU ceiling in this postseason run? And number 2, who do you start against Wofford? So let me take those in reverse order. The who do you start against Wofford is no matter what you think or what I think, what they're going to do is start Gage Jump. I'll remind you, again, 1 year ago, Jay Johnson made what is, in my opinion, the most careless decision that I've ever seen a head coach at LSU make in terms of baseball strategy. He started Paul Skeens against Tulane. That was a 1-4 matchup. Tulane was a sub-500 baseball team. They were bad. They got hot won their tournament, and Jay chose to throw the greatest pitcher any of us have ever seen in college baseball against Tulane. That's like fishing with dynamite. That's like whatever analogy you want to use. Any number of LSU pitchers in that moment would have done last year against Tulane. Now, it worked out, so we never have to talk about it again, hopefully. But Jay showed you his approach in these games and how he's going to do it. Wofford, as a team, hits 340. 7 of their everyday regulars hit over 300. The 2 that don't hit 292 and 291, respectively. That's a team that can swing the bats. I get it, different league. They steal a lot of bases. They don't hit a lot of homers, but they can hit, so you're going to throw gauge jump. You're not pitching off against Wofford, okay? So jump's going to start, and then jump, Holman. I'm presuming it'll be jump or Holman, but I'm presuming it's going to be gauge jump, and they'll just go in order, and Holman will pitch in the marble game, and I'm perfectly fine with that because Holman has been your more consistent pitcher all year, and when you were 3-12 in the league, the only league games you won were games that he started. So, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that approach. And whoever then, if you manage to start 2-0, someone's got to go win an elimination game, come back and beat you twice. I don't think anybody's got the pitching to do it in this field. So, yeah, I like LSU, jump Holman. If they can get through that to go on, that's what Jay's going to do. Now, the ceiling is the other question. What is LSU's ceiling in this tournament? Well, the ceiling is LSU becoming the first team since 2011 to go back-to-back and win the national championship. I'm not predicting that. I'm not telling you I think there's even a likelihood of that. What I will tell you is if you look at DraftKings today, they've got LSU with the 3rd best odds to win the national championship. A&M at plus 500, Tennessee at plus 600, LSU at plus 900. LSU's odds are better than Arkansas, which is at plus 1,000. So, yeah, LSU got a good draw. They've got a 1-2 punch on the mound, and they're playing great baseball. Their best baseball of the year. And they're a team that's been there, done that, believes, all that sort of stuff. It matters. I'll remind you, 2 years ago, well, you're tired of hearing this, but it's true. Ole Miss won the national championship after being the last at-large team in the field. They were the last at-large team in the field, and they rode 2 pitchers, Dylan Dellucci, Hunter Elliott, to a national championship because they just kept winning. Just stayed in the winner's bracket behind their 2 pitchers. And they allowed them to keep resetting their staff, and they went all the way to the national championship. So you can't win it if you don't get to Omaha, and I think LSU's draw is as favorable as you could have hoped for. So what's their ceiling? Go to Omaha and win it. I think it's doable. I'm not telling you I'm predicting it. If you ask me today, do I think LSU wins the national championship? I would tell you no. I do not think. If I took LSU or the field, give me the field. I might not have said that last year. I might have taken LSU. Probably did take LSU. But I look at this path, and the path to Omaha is manageable. We'll see if they can do it. So, look, Jay Johnson kind of went through the week. Tigers are going to practice Wednesday morning, and then you take an afternoon flight up to Chapel Hill. They'll practice on the field there Thursday, and they play Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time against Wofford. I expect we'll see Gage jump, and I think the morning ain't going to be a problem for LSU, considering they won 2 games in emphatic fashion in Hoover at 9:30 in the morning. So postseason's here. LSU's got a great draw, and if you're an LSU fan, you should be excited about it as the real fun now begins. Okay, we're brought to you by our show open every day is presented by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Y'all, this Saturday is our UFC 302 watch party over at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge. We've been taking entries. Remember, we are picking our winners on Thursday. So you have today and tomorrow to enter, and that's it. So if you haven't done it yet and you want to come out and join us, we'll be at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge for UFC 302. Even if you don't win, it's open to the public. So still plan to come watch the fights with us there. Dustin the Diamond Poirier, Lafayette's own, a proud endorser of Bud Light, spokesperson for Bud Light, also the official beer of the UFC. He's headlining the event against Makhachev. Going to be an awesome fight. I'm fired up for it. We got 8 winners. 8 winners. Each winner will get a +2. So each winner and their 2 guests will get free food, all the Bud Light you can drink all night long, and front row reserved table seating at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge in front of the big screen for UFC 302. That's this Saturday. Again, if you want to enter, all you got to do is text the word Diamond. That's Poirier's nickname. Text the word Diamond in the 225 to 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We'll have tons of 104.5 ESPN swag. We'll have Bud Light swag there as well. Great beer specials all night. We're looking forward to a good night over at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge this Saturday for UFC 302. We'll see you there, and good luck. We'll announce our winners here on Thursday. Okay, let me knock out a quick break. We got a lot of baseball talk today. Shea Dixon next hour. In about 15 minutes, Cody Benjamin will be here, national NFL writer, talk a little bit about the Saints offseason. David Dellucci, who we missed yesterday being off, will be here in hour 3. So a ton to do, and glad you're with us on AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, it's heating up. We spent the day yesterday out by the pool, 91 degrees, and it felt like it. If you haven't yet had your preseason AC tune-up, it's time. You got to get this done. Make sure before the daily triple-digit temps are here, and they're almost here. Make sure your Home Central AC is ready to go through that grind. Remember, you can go inside where it's cool. You can jump in the pool. Your AC, that unit sits out there outside your house 24/7, 365, and you count on it to keep you and your family comfortable during these hot Louisiana summers. Make sure you call River City's 1 Hour Air for the preseason AC tune-up. Mention the Moscona special. They'll always save you $25 on any system repair. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. There's nobody better with the most up-to-date, skilled continuing education for all of their technicians who treat you right. You're going to be thrilled to have them in your home. Do great work at a fair price. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Cody Benjamin will be here at about 12 minutes, national writer for the NFL, and we'll talk a little bit about the Saints offseason. So looking forward to that conversation coming up here in just a bit. If you missed the news, Tano Passanio, Dennis Allen met with reporters earlier today and announced Passanio tore his Achilles this offseason, so he's going to miss training camp. We'll see when they can get him back, but much more on that throughout the rest of the show. Actually, we got that on the rundown about an hour and 10 minutes from right now. Brian Kelly, a couple of weeks ago, said that they were still looking. They were done after they added JVR Suggs. They were done with defensive tackle, but they might still be looking in the portal for other positions. He declined to announce those positions. Well, I think now we know at least one of those positions, as LSU's landed a commitment from Louisiana Tech transfer Blake Oxendorf. Blake Oxendorf has had a little bit of a roundabout path in college. He started his career at Minnesota State University Moorhead and then transferred to Louisiana Tech in 2020 and just didn't play much at all. And then last year had a really good year at Louisiana Tech. He ended up averaging 45.7 yards per punt last year for Louisiana Tech. So for context, that 45.7 yards per punt for Louisiana Tech would have been third nationally among all punters and led Conference USA. So this is a big get at a position that LSU desperately needed help here. It's a veteran player to replace Jay Bramblett, who had locked down that punting gig for the last 2 years, coming over from Notre Dame with Brian Kelly. Now, we'll dive a little bit more into this here in a second, but a little more about Oxendorf. So, he had 48 yards per punt last year at Louisiana Tech. By contrast, or by comparison, Jay Bramblett last year for LSU averaged 40.9 yards per punt. So you're talking about a guy that averaged nearly 6 yards per punt more than Jay Bramblett, who's quite good. The problem for Bramblett last year is he only punted 26 times. He punted 26 times in 13 games. That was the fewest in the country by far. Obviously, LSU led the nation in offense, total offense, scoring offense, so Bramblett just didn't punt often. But if you remember, Brian Kelly, after the spring game, talked about Peyton Todd's day. Now, adding Blake Oxendorf, adding a punter, I would say, is not a surprise. Because considering these were the comments Brian Kelly made about Peyton Todd after the spring game.
Not as consistent as I would like. I thought today was an opportunity for him to just say, there is no competition here. And he's got to be more consistent, quite frankly. He's long. He's got all the tools. He's a classic case of today, right? You know, you got 14 practices. You look great. And today the ball was wobbling. It was not what I was looking for, nor was it what he was looking for either. He's a great kid. But look, it's about performance on Saturdays, and he's got to do a better job.
So Brian Kelly couldn't have been more pointed direct there about Peyton Todd, who I went back and checked. When Peyton Todd was coming out of West Monroe back in 2021, he was ranked by 247 as the number one punter in America. And the book on him has always been that he's got a great leg, that he can boom the ball. But as you heard Brian Kelly say there, the issue has always been the consistency and the ability to kick directionally and control where the ball goes sometimes. So I'm not surprised they added a punter. I'm a little surprised they were able to find a punter of this quality this late in the process. It is May the 28th. So the fact that you still had a guy out there is fantastic. And this is a guy who obviously has been in Louisiana at Louisiana Tech after starting his career at Minnesota State University in Moorhead, Minnesota. So if nothing else, now you go into fall camp with a competition between Bramblett and a guy that's a veteran player who led his conference in punting last year and presumably is coming here to win this starting job. So we'll see how it goes in fall camp and who ultimately wins that job. So now you have options. But it also brings you new respect for Jay Bramblett. You know, Bramblett, as bad as special teams have been at LSU the past 2 years, and that's been well chronicled during Brian Kelly's 2 seasons, in the changing of the staff and the inability to find guys to return kicks and punts and all of it. We know how bad it's been. You know, the special teams efficiency ratings have been triple digits. So as bad as that's been, it does give you sort of a new appreciation for Jay Bramblett, the consistency he brought at the punter spot for the last 2 years. I mean, in 2022, Jay Bramblett averaged 44.5 yards per punt. Now, last year I mentioned the average dropped to 40.9, but again, he only kicked 26 times. So how many of those were pooch punts, were directional kicks where you were trying, to him? But LSU also only allowed 3 returns all season on punts. So Bramblett was quite good at net punting, which is really what you're looking for. So in any event, you need to replace Bramblett. You've got a highly regarded guy that's waited his turn but has been inconsistent. Now you bring in a veteran player to compete at that job, to compete at that spot. So Louisiana Tech punter Blake Oxendorf has picked LSU out of the transfer portal, and the Tigers now inch closer to that 85-man scholarship limit. So by my count, there's 1 or 2 spots available remaining if there's anybody else out there that LSU could potentially add, but they've added a punter. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. I'm sure y'all heard earlier today, man, tornado touchdown around Lake Charles. You probably saw over Memorial Day weekend the devastating storms in parts of Texas. We saw the report last week from NOAA that they're projecting a busier than normal named storm season this year. All of that isn't to scare you. All that is to hopefully move you into being proactive. And I've told you now about Optimize for several months and have been thrilled with the feedback that we've gotten from our audience. It's easy to sell Optimize because, number one, they're selling Generac automatic home standby generators. Literally everyone listening to me right now would say, yeah, of course I'd love a generator. Of course you would. Power goes out, boom, your generator cuts on. It's like nothing ever happened, like the power never went out. We installed a generator after Ida, and it was an amazing decision. Like, I'd kick myself and say, why didn't we do it sooner? But I know people say, well, who should I hire, and then how much does it cost? Well, the how much does it cost? Optimize has different financing options to meet any budget. So if you're worried about it from a financial standpoint, you need to reach out to Optimize. Go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. And then the other reason why you should choose Optimize is they're Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Nobody in this state sells more Generacs. Look, this is a commodity. There's a lot of people who sell the exact same product. There's a lot of businesses that sell Generacs. So why do you choose Optimize? Because it's the only thing they do. They're not an HVAC company that also sells generators. They're not an alarm company that also sells generators. They're not an electrical company that also sells generators. All they do is sell, service, and install Generac automatic home standby generators. And right now, they have a free 10-year warranty with a purchase. That's more than $1,000 value. You can learn more. GeneratorPeople.com. Set up that consultation. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com for Optimize, servicing the entire 1012 corridor. Again, from Lake Charles to Slidell, anywhere in between. They got 4 physical locations, so they can get to you. GeneratorPeople.com. All right, we are going to get to Cody Benjamin here. I want to talk a little New Orleans Saints. Real quick, Jay Johnson, though, when he met with reporters on Monday, did give an update on Christian Little, who had that lat injury in the SEC Tournament Championship.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay. We'll have to see. And it's tricky because we're in that time of year, like if you can't pitch, like you can't be on the roster, because of, especially in the regional round, because of 5 games potentially in 3 or 4 days. I'm optimistic based on where the pain is, talking to Isaac Trujillo, but it'll probably be how fast does he recuperate? And we're probably not going to know that till Thursday. He'll definitely travel with us. It's just a matter of, it'll probably be a late decision on whether he's going to be on the active roster or not.
It's a bummer for Christian Little, who finally is pitching the best he has in his college career, to have this happen now in the SEC tournament final and right on the doorstep of regionals. But it's all the more reason why LSU really needs to play through the winner's bracket because, man, to be down Christian Little, that stings. I mean, that's a guy that can give you some length and obviously is a guy who you could count on even Friday against Wofford. But it looks like the Tigers might be without him. We'll find out on Thursday. Okay, it's after further review. Let's talk some Saints, some NFL with Cody Benjamin next here on AFR. AFR brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagoneer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local, shop local. I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Butch Drews, who many of you, if you've shopped at Clegg's, you've seen Butch over the years. But yesterday was his last day. He retired. So big shout out to Butch. Enjoy retirement, man. Appreciate the friend that he's been to me and our family, and all he's done for us over the many years that we've talked about Clegg's and shopped at Clegg's. But if you see Butch out and about, make sure you give him a hearty congratulations and well wishes in retirement. But the friendly staff at Clegg's continues to roll on. And if you're looking to go add flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, or you need any of the outdoor garden decor or the necessary products to keep those unwanted pests away, they've got it at Clegg's Nursery. So you know what to do. Buy local, shop local, tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. So it's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends.
Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Yeah, man, I thought some great work today.
guys had to kind of push through the environment just a little bit. It's hot out here, but nobody's going to care come next season. Nobody called and asked anybody where we wanted to play, when we wanted to play, what type of temperature we wanted it to be. They tell us where to play, so we got to be ready to play in whatever type of environment that we're asked to play in. So I thought it was good that the guys, were able to kind of push through it today, and we're getting some good work done.
Dennis Allen as the Saints wrap up day 4 of OTAs. Cody Benjamin is a CBS NFL staff writer, good enough to join us here for a couple minutes. Give us sort of the national perspective on the Saints in the division. Cody, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's our pleasure. A big picture thought on the Saints as they go into year 3 of the Dennis Allen era.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel bad because I'm coming in here, obviously, on the local station, and I feel like, when you look at the NFL landscape, sometimes, oftentimes every offseason, it's pretty easy to pick out, the obvious contenders, the teams who have really invested entirely in kind of resetting their roster, their coaching staff. To me, the Saints, they just fall squarely in, I don't want to say stuck in mud, but just kind of stuck in kind of this standstill. I think that, even the biggest Saints fans, I think, would admit that this team they haven't exactly run to a rebuild, even with the coaching transition, from Sean Payton to Dennis Allen. And I think you see that on the roster. I think that, Derek Carr is kind of the epitome of kind of that middle of the road quarterback. And, there's still some big names on this roster, but in this division, which is, the Buccaneers have won it the last few years, but it always feels like it's pretty wide open, and not necessarily because it's loaded with contenders. And so I know it doesn't sound very inspiring. I just see the Saints as kind of stagnant a little bit. I really appreciated that they invested in the trenches early in the draft. I think that's going to help out Derek Carr. I think it is a very winnable division still. It just doesn't. They seem very much content to be kind of where they're at, as opposed to blowing it all up for the long haul or being in a position to contend right now.
Well, I think that's probably the perspective that a lot of Saints fans share now, considering your 3 years without the postseason, and as you put it, a bad division. So the big question is how they get over that hump. You got an interesting piece up right now at CBS Sports. Everyone wants to go read it. You sorted all 32 teams, offensively, defensively, and then who are balanced and total package contenders. I don't think it's a surprise that you have the Saints sort of more geared toward the defensive side, but could you give us some context around how you put that together, especially looking at the Saints this year with a sort of a new vision offensively with Clint Kubiak coming in?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of how we actually went through and sorted them, I think it's a combination. You're obviously looking at personnel. Where are your biggest names? Where are your biggest difference makers? Do they lie on the offensive side or the defensive side? And then also, you're looking at how the team is run. I think that, like you mentioned, certainly changing up the staff on the offensive side of the ball signals that there could be a shift there. But you still have to look at, from the top down. And, with Dennis Allen in charge of the team, it's just hard not to see them as kind of being a continuation of that, slightly conservative leaning on the defense. And I do think the player personnel, suggest that is still where most of their strengths lie, even with some of the guys like Cameron Jordan, Marshawn Lattimore. They're not exactly spring chickens anymore, but I still think that the strengths lie there. And that doesn't mean that you can't be competitive. Like you said, it's an open division. There's other teams that are in that defensively oriented category. I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers as an example, the Cleveland Browns. If you have a tough defense, you can be competitive. It's just harder in today's NFL, I think, to get where you want to get if you're not offensively geared or balanced throughout the whole thing.
Another team that you have there in the defensive balanced classification is Carolina, which is a team that's obviously in the Saints division. Are you expecting any type of a bounce back season for Carolina year 2 with Bryce Young?
Well, I would sure hope so. It's hard to get much worse, I guess, at least from the expectations that were out there, including from myself. For Bryce Young, I thought, and this is one of those examples where we think we know things in the off season, and they end up not panning out at all. Last off season, we every year we've ranked the new quarterback head coach combinations, and so obviously, they've got another one this year with Dave Canales coming in at head coach. But last year, the Frank Reich Bryce Young pairing, I'm pretty sure I put that at the top 1 or 2 quarterback head coach pairings going into last year because I thought it was a perfect match. It ended up not being at all a perfect match. And so, the way that Carolina has invested, certainly they haven't ignored the offense. I mean, adding Deontay Johnson, spending an early pick on a wide receiver, adding to that running back room again, pouring some money into the offensive line. I just think that the upgrades they've made have been closer to marginal than major. And so their strengths, I think, still lie with some of those younger guys on the defensive side of the ball. The Saints, it's a little bit opposite. I think that, they've got some older guys on defense that are still holding it down, for Dennis Allen. But, I mean, it really comes down to, we always come back to the quarterback position in the NFL. And like I said, it just feels like we're kind of just waiting for the next step here in the Derek Carr era.
And Cody Benjamin's our guest here for a couple more minutes, CBS Sports NFL staff writer. On Twitter at Cody J. Benjamin, if you want to give him a follow. Last year, it was sort of this unanimous feeling that the Saints adding Derek Carr gave them the best quarterback in the division. And the Saints obviously didn't win the division. It's almost basically a same conversation this year with Atlanta adding Kirk Cousins. And so now they're the betting favorite, and it's just sort of this default that they got the best guy. But I see a lot of parallels to what New Orleans did a year ago. Does that hold water, or is Atlanta that far and away the best team in the division now adding Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to draw the comparison. I definitely think the pendulum swings a little bit too far in both directions, when we have these conversations. I think that, on one hand, I do think Kirk Cousins is a clear upgrade for Atlanta. I also think he's an upgrade on Derek Carr. If you were to say, put Kirk Cousins on the Saints, put Derek Carr on the Falcons, I do think the Kirk Cousins-led team is going to be better. But are we overstating, the supporting cast that Kirk Cousins is going into in Atlanta? I do think so. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, they're all young pieces. They're all theoretically ascending pieces. But, let's not act like Darnell Mooney and Rondale Moore are like grade A caliber, weapons in Atlanta. And, defensively, Jesse Bates, they've got some other nice pieces there that hopefully, I guess if you're a Falcons fan, Raheem Morris can maximize. But no, I don't think it is any. And clearly, with the top 10 pick spent on Michael Penix Jr., they're not quite as sold on Kirk Cousins as we all thought they were in March. So, no, I don't think it's a cakewalk for the Falcons to win this division. But I do think, I would expect improvement from Carolina, but I still think it's pretty much a 3-horse race there for, again, a weaker division, but between the Bucs, the Saints, and the Falcons.
Who has the best coach in the division?
Well, we don't know what Dave Canales is. I don't know. And I guess Raheem Morris is still a bit of a projection, even though he was the head coach, too. Yikes.
Right? We can have the quarterback conversation because we know a lot more about him, but the head coach conversation is like, hey,
Yeah, to be honest, and I don't know how Saints fans feel about this, but I see so many similarities even just from the head coaching spot between the Saints and the Bucs. Todd Bowles, Dennis Allen, both defensive guys. We know they can run a stingy defense, but both guys, since becoming head coaches in their current spots, they've gotten a lot of flack for, conservative calls in key spots and things like that. To be honest, I think if I were starting a team or if I had a really good roster and I could just pick one of these head coaches, I might honestly go with Dave Canales or Raheem Morris just for the upside because I feel like I know what Dennis Allen and Todd Bowles are giving me.
It's a fascinating conversation. All right, last thing, Cody, we'll let you run. The Saints have missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. Do you think that streak ends in 2024?
I do not. I think it's very possible, like you said, but if you look around the conference, I think it's not so much that this division because the division is winnable. We talked about that. Is it possible they could hang around there I just think it's either you win the division or you miss, because, you look at the conference in the NFC East. I mean, I would expect the Eagles and Cowboys to be in the playoff picture. In the NFC North, wow, what a division that is. I think the Lions are going to be good. The Packers should be good. The Vikings I could see hanging in the wild card picture. The Bears should be better. And then the NFC West, the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks, I think they could all be in the playoff conversation. And all those teams from the other divisions, I think, would match up better than the Saints. So I hate to leave you with that on the Saints program, but, you never know. I think if Derek Carr makes a step forward and the defense continues to be feisty, then we'll see.
I'd always prefer honesty. And quite honestly, and my audience knows this, I feel the same way. I think after this season, the Saints missed the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year, and there is a massive overhaul after this season. But as I say, that's why they play the games.
The bright side is, sometimes obviously you don't want to go into a season as a fan, expecting that, but sometimes it really does take, a team has to really go through it and finally get to rock bottom almost to reach a position of strength, to see that we need to reset these key spots, whether it's head coach, quarterback, whatever.
Good stuff, Cody. We appreciate it, man. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Be well. Get him on Twitter at Cody J. Benjamin, CBS Sports NFL staff writer, Cody Benjamin. We appreciate a couple of minutes there. It's AFR brought to you by Evermore. Man, I'm going to tell you what, yesterday we spent Memorial Day by the pool, and I love Memorial Day. I do. I know I've said it before on a lot of different platforms, but there's some people who maybe feel like on Memorial Day it feels a bit odd, like celebrating, right? Doing the pool, beach, barbecue, all that stuff on a day where we honor the brave men and women that died for us. But I always look at it and I go, man, if we can't take that day to enjoy the freedoms they died to protect, then what are we doing? So I love that holiday, man. To pause and honor the brave men and women that died for us, and to celebrate the freest country in the world. Very random. I didn't mean to go there with that at all, but that is sincere. But we were out by the pool yesterday, and man, God, it was 91 degrees. It was so hot. Bought a 12-pack of Evermore. I think I drank 6 of them by the pool yesterday. So it's a part of my routine. This morning I woke up and I got up early and worked out, and I had a 20-ounce bottle of Evermore I brought to the gym with me when I worked out this morning. I have a 64-ounce bottle that I carried with me throughout the day that I drink. This is part of my life and my routine now. It's a better form of hydration. It's a healthier option. Parents, if you want a healthier option for your kid, know what is in your tap water. Know what is in other bottled water products, things that are added and taken away. And then understand when you drink Evermore, you're drinking a natural artesian water. Straight out of the ground from a well, a natural artesian well, right into the filtration system, and then into the bottle. Never touches air until you uncap it and take that first sip. It's a great product. It's a Louisiana company. It's Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. Available at great local retailers. Good stuff there from Cody Benjamin. We appreciate it. If you missed the news today, Dennis Allen announced that Tano Passanio tore his Achilles. So he'll miss camp, and we'll see when he's available to return. But they will be without him for a bit. All right. We're going to knock out a break. Shea Dixon's going to be with us here in hour number 2. And I'm not actually sure if it's going to be at the top or the bottom of hour 2. But we got Shea Dixon coming up here in hour number 2. And Lee Feinswog will be with us as well. Lee knew Bill Walton well. And Bill Walton, of course, passed on Memorial Day. So we'll get some perspective on the life of Bill Walton from Lee Feinswog coming up here shortly. David Dellucci in hour 3. Lots of LSU baseball, regional talk, all that good stuff. We'll get to it. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine.
AFR.
Hey, if you got an event coming up, even if it's a large-scale event in the next year or so, and you're starting the pre-planning phase, always want to remind you about our friends over at the Renaissance Hotel, right there on Bluebonnet. The Renaissance is on Bluebonnet across from Perkins Row in the mall. It is a gorgeous hotel property. And the cool thing about the Renaissance is every Renaissance is unique to its market. So, like, if you go to the Renaissance Hotel in Las Vegas, you'll see, like, Las Vegas decor. I've stayed there. You'll see, like, Las Vegas decor. You go to the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet, the sculpture behind the front desk is actually a to-scale model of the Mississippi River and its tributaries and estuaries. If you look at the carpet the carpet in a lot of the ballrooms, they're meant to mimic crab traps. Anyway, there's so much more throughout the hotel, which is amazing. But whether you're looking to host an event for a dozen people or up to 500 people, they have the space, and they're in the business of saying yes. It's over at the Renaissance Hotel.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, set and talk.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. I believe we're going to have Shea Dixon here in about 10 minutes from right now after Sports Center, but it might actually be in about 40 minutes. I'm not 100% positive. Shea's up in Nashville at a big on-3 recruiting event. Bryce Underwood's there, so big to do. So we'll get to Shea coming up here shortly. Right now, though, we're just going to flip because we had Cody Benjamin. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Billy Napier expected to hire Bowling Green cornerbacks coach Bea Rasul. He was previously in the same position there at Bowling Green, where they were 12th nationally in pass defense, previously worked at Arizona and Missouri.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee's landed transfer commitment from preferred walk-on receiver Tommy Winton II. A Knoxville native, had 23 catches for 349 yards as a freshman at East Tennessee State this past year. SoCon all-freshman team now heads over to Knoxville.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Jacksonville State transfer defensive lineman Chris Hardy has committed to Ole Miss. Tell you what, man, Lane Kiffin, the portal king, as they say, he lands another. At 61 tackles, 16 for loss, 8.5 sacks in 2023 at Jacksonville State, now headed to Oxford. And on the hardwood, Chris Beard got a commitment from Hampton forward Javon Benson, 6'8 junior, originally from Columbia, South Carolina. 7 points, 5 boards per game this past season. Began his career at South Carolina, then went to Hampton. Now will finish up at Ole Miss.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas got a commitment from Kentucky transfer guard DJ Wagner. Of course, John Calipari coached Wagner in Lexington. Now he'll coach him in Fayetteville. 6'4 guard, his lone season this past year with the Wildcats. Started 28 games, averaged 10 points and 3 boards while shooting 40% from the field.
The Auburn Tigers.
And Georgia Tech transfer guard Miles Kelly has committed to Auburn, and head coach Bruce Pearl, 6'6 junior from the state of Georgia. Led Georgia Tech this past season in scoring with nearly 14 points a game. Former 4-star recruit. Just on the border of being a top 100 player coming out of high school. He'll finish up his career at Auburn. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We are brought to you by our friends over at Pure Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor. Hey, Scone, what's the mold company you always talk about? Well, it's Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Listen, I say it all the time, but we live in the mold capital of the world. Louisiana is wet and humid. That's a breeding ground for mold. You may even have black mold in your walls and not know it. Look up around your air vent. You see little black specks? That's mold. So it's really easy. In half a day, less than half a day, they can spray your entire home. And it's a patented non-toxic dry fog, meaning you don't have to take things out. It's perfectly safe for your plants and everything. So just leave the home. They'll fog. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're in a mold-free, clean-smelling home. It's Pure Restoration, of course. They can fog gigantic commercial buildings as well. Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Started the show today reacting to LSU's regional draw, which I think is as favorable as the Tigers could have possibly hoped for. We'll find out later this week what Jay Johnson's pitching plan is against Wofford on Friday at 11 a.m. All right, SportsCenter, then Shea Dixon.
AFR.
Man, for 76 years, Michele has just continued growing and expanding, and I love telling you about him every single day because, you know, whenever I have conversations with my friends over at Michele, they kind of let me in a little bit as well on what they have in the pipeline and some of the growth that they have ahead. And it's amazing to see now more than 30 offices across 12 states. They've expanded their reach and their territory even more now. If you want to look at your whatever state it may be to see their available manufacturers, you can go to the website at michele.com, scroll down. You can see all of their certification documentation. If you want to learn more about ISO 17025 accreditation, which I always talk about, if you need it, you know why it's important. If you don't know what it is, then you certainly don't need it. But it's Michele Weighing and Measurement. They're just the best. With a for 76 years, serving sea to shining sea and with an eye on going international, but maintaining their local ownership. It's Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in. The Texans end receiver Nico Collins agreed to a 3-year, $72 million extension, $52 million guaranteed. The Mavericks in the driver's seat as they get ready to host the Timberwolves. Game 4 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals tonight. In addition to the play of co-stars Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, Dallas is up 3-0 in part because nothing Minnesota's doing defensively is working, points out ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
They're changing their defense nonstop, changing the way they're defending the pick and roll, changing their strategies and their priorities because they can't cover all of this Dallas offense. They've gone from defending the three-point line at all costs to sinking their defenders in to defend the rim to dealing with lobs.
Game 4, 8 Eastern ESPN Radio. The Rangers visit the Panthers. Game 4 of the NHL's East Final tonight, 8 Eastern ESPN. New York's up 2-1. 29-year-old Lexi Thompson, one of the biggest stars in women's professional golf over the last 15 years, announced that this will be her final season competing full-time on the LPGA Tour.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. What a time. The regional field was announced on Monday. Tigers got a great draw. We'll talk plenty about it. The opposing head coaches, both J.J. Edwards from Wofford, Scott Forbes from North Carolina, met with reporters. We'll let you hear some of what they had to say coming up a bit later this hour. David Dellucci, 1 hour from right now as well from the SEC Network. Every Tuesday, we visit our buddy Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talk a little Cruton. Shady's with us now from up in Nashville. How are you, Shea?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me? I'm inside the hotel here at the On 3 Elite Series, so this was the quietest spot I could find.
I got you loud and clear. I saw the video you posted earlier today of Bryce Underwood and several other big-time prospects. Can you fill us in? What is the Elite Series there that y'all are doing in Nashville?
Yeah, this is the second year in a row that they've put it on, and it is really the top 50 around, I think pretty much right at that. Top 50 high school prospects in the country all come in with their parents and get an opportunity to meet with, obviously do interviews with all of us, but also hear from different speakers, hear from Shannon, our CEO, do kind of a car wash of different interviews from, Andy Staples to J.D. Patel to Josh Newberg, everyone up here. But the big thing is being educated on making that next step to college and talking about NIL, where it can go wrong, how not to chase it, educating parents where really kind of they haven't gotten that platform beyond talking to college coaches, or a lot of kids in high school can sign with agents. And it's a lot more educational, I think, when they come up here about what you're getting into, what to look out for, and then the expectation of, hey, look, you're the best player in a 5-star right now, but when you get to the campus you're going to, you're just another player. And how do you handle that transition without making it all about NIL and all these other things? So I think it's a really good idea to give guys a feel for what's out there, what's to come, and how sort of all this works. And then they get to have their parents there with them to sort of go over everything and get all those kind of questions answered.
Well, Bryce Underwood's there, Harlem Berry's there, some big-time LSU commits. I saw your tweet earlier today, Shea, that DeCorian Moore, who just recently decommitted from LSU, apparently after locking in his official visits, now says LSU's back in the mix. What can you tell us?
Yeah, he said that right after he decommitted that Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton, and Frank Wilson all made their way to Duncanville and met with him, met with his mom, and talked things over and decided that LSU needed to be back in the mix. So he will be on LSU's campus June 7th for an official visit. He's got Texas in the mix, Ohio State is another that teams are watching out for, and then Oregon. But I think that everyone really feels like Texas, the school everyone kind of thought he originally would wind up at, is the team to beat. Look, 24 hours ago, we figured LSU might be out of this, but come to find out, as DeCorian said, not long after decommitting, he said the big three, Sloan and Hankton and Frank, made their drive over, talked with him, and he said, look, y'all are right. I need to kind of give LSU a deeper look. I've been committed there for a reason. And he said, look, that's where I've always wanted to go. I opened it back up because I wanted to explore all my options. And he said, now I'll have 4 options, LSU back in the mix.
Shea, what about you? I know you and I talked about this when DeCorian Moore decommitted, but has the field or target of receivers that LSU is going after for 2025 narrowed or expanded?
Not really, because they had already had a group of guys that they were recruiting. I mean, Teron Francis, a 4-star, a top 250 prospect, and the number 1 receiver in Louisiana coming out of Edna Carr is already committed. And then you had Moore. Now with Moore no longer in the class, where do you go? Look, 2 top 4 receivers are here. I talked to both of them, in Jamie French and Khaleke Lockett. French coming out of Florida, and then Lockett out of Texas. Both of them will be together this weekend on LSU's campus for their official visit as they begin things. They've recruited both those guys pretty heavily. I'd say they may have a better shot at Lockett out of those 2, but the group continues to get bigger with other guys who are ranked as top 5, 7 receivers. C.J. Wiley, who's the son of the great Chuck Wiley at LSU, he's another that they've been after pretty heavily, and he'll make an official visit in June. So I think between camp, where they'll get to see guys in person, maybe make some new offers, between camp in June and all these official visits in June with wide receivers, I think we'll have a much better feel for kind of how this plays out for LSU at a position that I've said many, many times on this show that I never worry about at LSU as receiver. I'm just curious to see how the dominoes fall this cycle.
Shea, what else is interesting? I'm looking at the On3 Elite Twitter account and looking at it all day, and the way that, for those who are listening now, watching, or if you haven't seen it, the recruits pose in front of a step and repeat backdrop, and they're holding hats of the stacked of the schools that they're considering, and it's kind of incredible because a lot of these defensive, almost every picture has an LSU hat in it, which is great. But then here's a picture of Dorian Bruce, a 5-star cornerback with an LSU hat. Shea, I want to ask about the cornerback spot as well, because clearly that's a spot where you bring back Corey Raymond. Everyone's anticipating a giant uptick in the level of talent, recruiting ability there. So where is LSU at cornerback looking at 2025?
Yeah, two of the top corners in America, DJ Pickett, the number one corner, and then Dorian Burns, who you mentioned, the top 5 corner. They're both up here, and I sat down with both of them, and they said, look, the message from Corey Raymond has been very clear. It's that LSU isn't where they need to be. They claim the DBU moniker, and that they can be part of that first class with him here of bringing that back. DJ Pickett, who is 6'4", his hands hang past his knees. He's exactly what Corey Raymond loves in a corner. And he's out of Florida and said, look, he was on me at Florida, and the second that he made the move to LSU, it was kind of a match for me. He already liked LSU. He really likes Raymond. And he said, look, Raymond got hired in late January. I've been there 3 to 4 times since then, and now he'll be there this weekend for his official visit. Dorian Brew will be here this weekend for his official visit as well. So two of Corey's top targets, and certainly rankings-wise, two of the top guys, both coming in on the same weekend. In fact, I interviewed them back-to-back, and they had met each other for the first time, and now they'll spend time together this weekend. But I feel good about DJ Pickett. Like you said, I'm coming with my parents, and I just want them to feel comfortable with it. He'll make some other visits right afterwards, and then have a decision before his senior year. I like where LSU stands. And then with Dorian Brew, you've got a guy whose dad, Derek Brew, ran track at LSU, ran for Team USA, won medals. You've got his mother, who ran track at Ohio State. Both those schools are in the mix. Texas and then Southern Cal are the top 4 there. And he said, look, I've moved back and forth from the Midwest and Texas. I'm using these visits to just kind of get a real feel for where I want to spend 4 consecutive years instead of hopping back and forth between living, with his mom and dad, and now he's finishing up in Texas over at Conroe. He'll be a senior this fall, obviously. But it's interesting. A lot of kids take these visits for different reasons, and Bruce said, look, I grew up with LSU all in my house. My dad talks about it nonstop. And then I got my mom, who went to Ohio State and did all that. So he's navigating both those, and while also being interested in other schools. And he said this weekend for him is big because it's his shot to see LSU from a perspective of, hey, is this really where I want to go? Because as he told me, Corey Raymond's telling him, you can come in here and compete to play right away. And we need to turn this around. And guys like those two, Pickett and Brew, are pretty good starting points. And look, they've already got Jabari Antoine, who's another top 10 corner, but a Louisiana guy and coming out of New Iberia, but these kids are out of state. But I think they're on the right track. They're recruiting the best of the best, which is kind of what Corey Raymond was known for across that decade that he was coaching in the secondary at LSU.
Shea, I got a couple of more for you on Twitter at Shea Dixon. On 3, the Bengal Tigers up there in Nashville at the On 3 Elite right now. Blake Oxendorf, punter from Louisiana Tech. LSU gets their transfer punter. Reaction to that, and are they done in the portal?
They still have spots. They could continue to add guys if they want to. At this point, there's not many guys out there that I've heard any buzz around. And even with grad transfers, we're past that date to where they could hit the portal at any time. So I would say it's probably settled. And they've got a few scholarships to play with. And there's nothing wrong with handing them out to guys on the team for a year basis. And then you get to this point next year and you've got a few more open scholarships to play with between high school and the portal. But with the addition of a punter, I think was a big thing because we've talked about it on the show after the spring game. Brian Kelly said we're going to go after defensive tackles, and then that was the main position. So that's our focus. And then 2 questions later says he has been happy with the punting situation and wants competition there. So a lot of people wondered, well, where's the competition going to come from? And then you land a guy like Oceendorf, who a top 20 punter in punting average last year, led Conference USA, set a bunch of La Tech records. So you want a guy with experience who can come in and compete. You won't find many more that are out there that are bigger than him. Fortunately, a guy who's been at La Tech, you've got some connections up there. He already knows Louisiana. And he told me that was once they got everything worked out, it was the perfect fit for him. So him versus Peyton Todd. And look, Peyton Todd's going into year 4 coming out of West Monroe, and he's appeared in 2 games, both times holding kicks. So we haven't even seen Peyton Todd punt in a game for LSU yet. Now you've got a guy in Oceendorf who he's got about as much experience, at least across the 2023 season, as you could ask for at this stage in the game.
Shea, enjoy Nashville, man. We always appreciate you making time for us.
Yeah, I'm glad that, look, I just got done with all my interviews, and then the phone rang, and I'd forgotten we were doing this, so it worked out perfect.
We call that serendipity. Sometimes things just are supposed to happen the way they do. Thanks, Shea.
All right, Matt. We'll talk soon.
Amen. Be well. AFR brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. I've told you for 3.5 years, do business with someone you know, and that hasn't changed. Just our name and our new company has. We even still have the same phone number, 364-1007, 364-1007, but it's still me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and our great, all the same crews, Christina in the office. We've added great members to our team now as well, Trent and so many others, and I'm fired up to tell you more and more and more as we keep going along. But if you need a roof, we'd love to help you. Commercial, residential, repairs, replacements, smallest repair to the largest residential or commercial roof replacement, new construction, we'd love to help with that. Something I would love to stress as well, and I know we had some bad weather last week, and there were tornadoes like in Slidell and then yesterday in the Lake Charles area, and we'd love to help. We service the entire state of Louisiana, so we've got crews literally throughout the state, licensed and insured. We can get to you anywhere. Parishbuilt.com is the website, parishbuilt.com. But if you've had an issue with your roof and you've already had your insurance adjuster come out and you have your scope of work, your paperwork, I mean, you are done. All you have to do literally is pick shingle color, and then boom, you're on the schedule. We can get you a new roof done within a couple of weeks. So if you've got that scope of work, give us a shout at 364-1007, 364-1007, 225-364-1007, or you can always go to the website, fill out the form right there on the homepage, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. David Dellucci in about 45 minutes from right now. We'll get Lucha's thoughts not only on LSU's draw, but the rest of the SEC teams that are heading off to regional play. As I know a lot of people today are super interested in regional baseball, which gets underway on Friday. Tigers headed up to Chapel Hill. Great draw for LSU, paired with Tucson. Tigers will take on Wofford at 11 a.m. on Friday, 11 a.m. Central on Friday. So that's great news for us as well, because then we'll effectively be a de facto postgame show. It's much better if you're in radio to do a postgame show than to try to go head up on LSU in postseason, which I've done plenty of times. So thankful for the 11 a.m. Central Time start on Friday. All right, it's after further review. Part of the news on Memorial Day was the death of Bill Walton, Hall of Famer and legendary broadcaster. Our friendly Feinswog knew Bill Walton and is going to join us to share some thoughts on that next here on AFR.
AFR.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile, It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Man, it has been a hot minute. And it took a Hall of Famer passing for Lee to finally join us again. If I knew that, I would check celebrity. Well, no, let me not go there. Anyway, Lee Feinswog's with us. How are you, Lee?
Well, not just anybody, I mean, it was Bill Walton.
Yeah, man.
And, and for me personally, I was I was at the LSU rec center yesterday swimming, and from the pool there, on the indoor pool, they have the TV up and ESPN is on, and I looked over and I saw Walton on the TV screen, and I thought, I haven't talked to him in a while. I hadn't heard from him in a while, and vice versa, and it just, went about continuing the workout. Got out of the workout, and on my phone, Bill Walton had died. And I was like, whoa. And if they said after a prolonged battle with cancer, and most people, unless they were real close to him, didn't even know that it was happening.
I didn't know.
And, Bill was the icon for my generation of basketball, period. And there are plenty of observers who watched basketball before Walton and certainly through the current era who think that when healthy, he was the best big man ever to play the game. Guys ran faster, jumped higher, but he was a perfect basketball player and so much fun to watch. And then I got lucky enough to get to know him personally, as it was long after his playing career was over. The first time I got to meet him was when he came here to tutor Shaquille's freshman year.
Mm.
And it was Thanksgiving week. They said, hey, Bill Walton's going to be practicing. I was like, oh, cool. Well, because it was Thanksgiving week, the kids were out of school, so Kirk was with me. He was 7. So we went down into the practice was down in the dungeon. And Walton pulled him over and had him rebound for him and Shaquille on their side of the court and what they were doing. And it just drives me and Kirk crazy, because I wrote a piece today for volleyballmag.com about Walton. But it's mostly about basketball, but I was able to twist a little bit of volleyball in there so I could, justify putting it on our site. But we couldn't find the picture. We know it exists. Little Kirk Feinswog and 7-foot-tall Bill Walton. I don't remember if Shaquille's in the picture or not. But Bill was just a great guy. A lot of people didn't like his shtick, because he was so inane. Kind of reminds me of myself sometimes when I talk to you, but
it's actually pretty endearing.
And his yesterday, I got the alert on my phone and I went, damn, the day after the Conference of Champions finished its last conference play. And he was such a proponent of the Pac-12 and loved it so much. Of course, one of the greatest UCLA athletes, and everybody in the conference grew to love him. He transcended the rivalries, and their rivalries are just as fierce as the ones that people here know, like in the SEC. UCLA and USC in some sports is pretty gnarly, as they say out there. But I knew I had the opportunity to visit with you. My Tuesdays have been pretty wacky lately, as you know, but I had to make time to visit with you about Bill. And he was just such a good player and such a good guy.
Well, Bill Walton's son, Adam, obviously was part of the LSU basketball program for a while as well. And so that, I mean, you'll have to help me with the time frame there, Lee. I mean, that was, I think, early 2000s when Adam was on the LSU basketball team, if not before. And so I'm sure that brought Bill Walton, here around that time as well. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but weren't Bill and Adam both part of Hoop Daddy?
Yes, I did a chapter on the Waltons with, also including Luke Walton, quite a very, very good beach volleyball player, still coaching as an assistant with the Cleveland Cavaliers. No, that was part of the tie-in, for my other story. But Sam, Nate, and of course Adam. Adam played here he was the last couple of years of Dale's career. It was in the mid '90s. He played sparingly. He had some offensive skills at 6'9", but he had limited mobility and couldn't cover anything. But my favorite Adam Walton memory was one day I was going to go cover practice, and I was a good 20 minutes late for the start of practice. And I'd parked my car, and I was, of course, it didn't make a difference what time I got there. And as I got near the assembly center, Adam Walton was shuffling along. He was wearing flip-flops, a pair of baggy shorts, and a beat-to-death Grateful Dead T-shirt.
Sure he was.
And I looked at him, and I said, it warms my heart to see a Walton wearing a Grateful Dead T-shirt. He said, yeah, I stole it from my dad. And
so I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Adam Walton played in Dale's last two seasons, the 95-96 season and the 96-97 season, which was Dale's last.
Yeah. Adam was a wonderful guy. We've stayed in touch through Facebook over the years. I know Dale Brown told me that Adam called him personally yesterday, and that Bill had wanted Adam to call Dale for him. So you want me to tell my penultimate Bill Walton?
Well, you're breaking up a little bit there. Of course, the internet's not going to cooperate now that Lee's about to tell a Bill Walton story, and he's just frozen. You might want to take Frozen Lee off the screen there. We don't need Frozen Lee on the screen. We'll see if we can reconnect with Lee. I would love to hear a Bill Walton story. A lot of people nationally are sharing them today, as you might imagine, and if we can get one from Lee that maybe touched a little more locally, we'll certainly do that. Let's see if we can reconnect real quick. I hope we're able to do that so we can get that story. I'll take this quick opportunity to remind you about First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. If you're thinking of buying land, go to First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. The interesting thing, I was thinking about this earlier. Most of us at some point in our life have probably borrowed money from somewhere for something. Have you ever had a lender write you a check? Well, if you borrowed from First South Farm Credit, that would happen every year because for 29 consecutive years, they've issued a patronage refund. And because they're a member-owned cooperative, they share in the profits with their member borrowers. So that effectively reduces.
All right, Lee, can you hear me? Lee?
Property, that piece of land to build the home of your dreams, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. We good? All right, we got Lee back. I would love to hear your Bill Walton story.
So cool trick, huh? Being able to pretend we freeze so you can sneak in an ad.
Well done. I got enough of them, so if I need a fill, I got it.
There you go. It's the 95 Final Four in Seattle. Adam Walton is already committed to come to LSU the next season. And I see Bill Walton at breakfast, and I said, Bill, can I get a couple quotes from you about Adam Walton? Because he always referred to his kids as Adam Walton, Luke Walton, whatever. And I said, I'm going to make a note about it. And he said, sure. He goes, like, I got to run right now. He said, why don't you come to my room this afternoon? And I said, that'll work out perfect. I'll come there before I go to the arena. And he said, great, and he'll be waiting for me. So getting ready to go. And I clean up, jacket, tie, nice clothes, the briefcase, the whole thing. Take the elevator, knock on Bill's door. Lori, his wife, answers. She goes, hi. She goes, Bill's doing a radio interview, but he knows you're coming, so come on in. So I walk in. They've got this suite. And Bill Walton, all 7 foot tall of him, is stretched out on just a regular chair, desk chair. Imagine he's back like this with the phone up to his ear, his legs extended all the way out, and his feet crossed. And the only thing that Bill Walton is wearing is a washcloth on his crotch. all 7 foot nakedness of Bill Walton. And I looked at him and I said, oh, Bill, don't get dressed for me. And he didn't miss a beat. He just kept right on doing his interview. And when his interview was over, he grabbed a big towel and then gave me the quotes I needed for Adam Walton for a story later on. And I went off to cover the Final Four. So that's one of my favorites. He was random too. I would see him every year at the Final Four. We'd always visit, always get a handshake and a hello, Lee, and never big time anybody. And so yesterday, all of the pundits, the guys who covered him and knew him really well and covered his career. See, I didn't get to know him until after he finished playing basketball, even though I admired him as a player so much. I can't compete with those kind of stories. The guys who covered him for the Celtics or the ones who covered him with the Trailblazers or the ESPN guys who worked with him.
Sure.
But so my frame of reference was small, but for what it was, I would tell you this, since I think the statute of limitations is probably over. So in 1977, my senior year at Southern Illinois, I had 3 classes. 2 of them were pass fail. Okay. And the one for credit, I think with actual was a PE class. So Purple Haze doesn't even begin to summarize what that year was like. But there was a group of us who got together and followed that entire Portland Trailblazers run through the NBA playoffs. And it was a hazy venture watching those games. Let's put it that way. It was fabulous. And Walton was just so good. And for those of you who might be younger and have never seen it, the specials, the ESPN 30 on him is running again. And when you see clips of the way he played the game, he was just fundamentally perfect. And what a great shooter, the best passer. I got to cover the Kansas City Kings for a couple of years, and Cotton Fitzsimmons had a center named Sam Lacey. And one year when Walton was hurt, he went off with the Grateful Dead. And Cotton said, well, now that Walton's out at the pyramids with the Grateful Dead or wherever he is, Sam Lacey's the best passing center in the NBA. I mean, it was just, there was nobody who could pass like him. His defense was, he defended without fouling. He was just so great. And then when he got hurt and his foot became what it was, the fact that he was able to get that second championship with the 86 Celtics was fantastic.
Yeah.
But, it's my honor and privilege. And, Matt, I haven't stopped drinking beer. I don't want you to think I've given it up, but I just have been buying boring beers. I got no beer to throw at you. I mean, the last beer I bought was a 6-pack of Beck's because I just love Beck's, but we're not going to play the song for that.
Fair enough. Next time we speak, let's make sure we get connected on a beer. I'm sure our friends over at Mockler have plenty of good craft beers we could dive into, and we'll drink one and we'll pour one out for Bill Walton as well. A life well lived. I never met him, but by all accounts, I think you could describe him as genuine. Every story that you've heard about Bill Walton here over the last day or so. And I appreciate you for joining us today to share yours.
Well, thanks for letting me talk about it, and always good to see you guys. And there you go.
Don't be a stranger. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right. Be well. That is the one and only Lee Feinswog with some thoughts there on the late Bill Walton, who died on Monday. It is After Further Review. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunEquip.com, SunEquip.com. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Still got a lot I want to delve into. David Dellucci in 30 minutes from right now. Give us some perspective not only on LSU's regional, but the rest of the SEC field as well. Dennis Allen met with reporters after Saints OTAs today. We learned that Tano Passanio has torn his Achilles. I want to get some thoughts on that, which we will. And when we come back, though, I do want to give let's hear a few thoughts from the head coaches of both North Carolina and Wofford, two teams that LSU presumably will play both of them this week up in Chapel Hill. We'll do that next on AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. And I tell you all the time that if you're selling your home and you list with Darren James, Darren has this uncanny ability to make you feel like you are his only client. And I just saw this one posted, a new home listed for sale in Prairieville on Meadowbrook Avenue. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet, a true beauty, $405,000. If you want to check it out, you can do so right now at agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, Darren James, working with LPT Realty now, the fastest growing real estate company in history. They have accomplished in one calendar year what it took other well-known national real estate brands 7 to 10 years to grow in size and volume. Listing power tools. You need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
Take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always...
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I watch them a lot. I used to watch a lot of Major League Baseball, and now I just watch ESPN Plus all the time. That's kind of my thing. My wife probably doesn't like it, but like 9 to 11 o'clock Tuesday, Wednesdays when we're not playing, it's just like midweek baseball in our house. So I've actually seen them a lot. So very talented, phenomenal phenomenal program. Jay spoke at our convention this year, and you could see why they're really successful is how that guy goes about his business. So it's going to be a very, very good test for us in our program.
That's Wofford coach J.J. Edwards, and his wife and my wife have a lot in common. They hate that midweek baseball is always on the TV at home. And like Erica loathes the fact that she hates baseball. She doesn't get it. It's slow. It's boring. It's all the things that people who complain about baseball say. And that's totally fine. But yes, she doesn't understand why they play so many games. So the difference is I am not a baseball coach. J.J. Edwards' wife married a baseball coach. So I may be a little more understanding why there's baseball on all the time. So LSU draws Wofford, and I've said it several times here today that I think this is a very favorable draw for LSU. Wofford is a team that's a very good offensive team, and they have a true ace, but they are an offensive team. They hit 340 as a team, and another reason why I think we're going to see LSU throw Gage jump is not only because of that Wofford lineup that hits 340 as a team, and 7 of their 9 everyday regulars all hit over 300, and the 2 under 300 are at 291 and 292. But they have an ace, which during this run that you just went on in Hoover, you didn't face an ace. You 3 of the 5 games you're facing bullpen days, for more or less, really 4 of the 5 games. So I think the challenge for LSU offensively ratchets up, even though it's Wofford and we may not be as familiar with the name. But one of the reasons why I think this is such a good draw for LSU as far as a 2-3 matchup is for all of these players at Wofford, this is their first NCAA tournament experience. Whereas, of course, LSU has a lot of guys that were on the team last year that made the run to Omaha. Yes, you're counting on some freshmen. Milam and Jake Brown's playing a lot more in center, certainly when you want a left-handed bat in the lineup. I mean, Ashton Larson has become an everyday player for you right now, but you've got a lot of guys that have tournament experience where Wofford has none, and J.J. Edwards spoke to that about going into this regional experience, having no experience.
I think the last 5 days in Greenville, South Carolina kind of weathered us for any tournament atmosphere. Like, I think we were looking up at all of our whoops, and sleeping 5 hours a night was like a really good night for us. So I think what we just went through sets us up very well for now. You look up and you go, it's only 4 teams, not 8, and you're not sitting there playing, I don't know, what do we play, 5, 6 games? 7 games, yeah. So it just looks a little, you look back and you're like, okay, the teams are a lot better because this is the big boy. But, the experience that we gathered last week or a couple days ago, I think sets us up well.
7 games in 5 days. I mean, college teams are not built to do that, obviously, but the challenge ratchets up tremendously when you're staring at the defending champ LSU and all the talent that's there. And obviously a potential matchup for them with North Carolina as well, which could happen in this field. And then there's Long Island hanging out as well. Speaking of North Carolina, and LSU's got to get through Wofford first to get to that marble game, which we all presume will be against North Carolina. It's going to be interesting to see how Carolina handles their pitching approach with Long Island on Friday. But first, here was Scott Forbes, who, when Coach Fox, who was the coach at Carolina when they were making all those trips to Omaha, Scott Forbes was on that staff, and now he's the head coach there in Chapel Hill. He first gave his reaction to LSU, to drawing LSU there in Chapel Hill.
It's fitting, number one, for this team because not many people have talked a lot about our team, throughout the season. And we've got one of the best teams in the country. But again, you got to beat great teams, and LSU's program is their program. I think it's awesome. LSU coming here will bring out the best in everybody that's here. But they're not the only team here. And I have to remind our guys that we've got to play really good against Long Island to play Wofford or LSU. So I'm excited about it, but I'm more excited for our guys. And this is the time of year that, as a coach, if you've done your job, you don't have to do nearly as much because the guys, it's their time.
The real big question is, I think so for both coaches, it's going to be how do you handle pitching. LSU's got a two-headed monster, so to speak, but so does North Carolina. So Carolina's got Jason DeCaro, who's a freshman righty, and then they've got Shea Sprague, who's a transfer from Elon. And both of those guys, their ERAs are comparable. So DeCaro has a 3.80 ERA, and Sprague has a 4.02 ERA. What stands out is that there isn't anything necessarily that looks overpowering with either guy. And again, you're talking about two guys that are going to be facing this for the first time, and a freshman and a transfer from Eline. DeCaro has thrown 73 innings. He's got 64 strikeouts and 34 walks in 73 innings pitched, so less than a strikeout per inning. And then for Sprague, in the 65 innings pitched, he's got 55 strikeouts and 14 walks, so fewer walks. But again, neither has a higher strikeout per inning, strikes out more than an innings per pitch. So you'd like your opportunity to go put the ball in play. Again, there isn't like an overpowering ace there that you would fear that you would see on any given Friday night in the SEC. So it's one of the reasons why you really like LSU's chances with either Holman or Jump in either of those games. So my guess is that Jay's going to throw Gage Jump and then have Luke Holman to either win the marble game or save your season. And we'll see what they elect to do there, what Coach Forb elects to do. But he was asked if they're going to alter their pitching rotation. I guess the other thing you can do is you can pitch off, and they could sort of do a midweek approach and save both DeCaro and Sprague for games 2 and 3 of their regional if necessary.
I don't know. We need to look at all three teams. I do feel like we have flexibility with our three starters of switching if we want to. I don't think it's a big deal. We'll look at it more as what we feel like is the best matchup for game 1 and throw that guy. And then, or if they're equal, who's the better matchup against Wofford or LSU.
So non-committal, as I don't think you would expect any coach to make that determination at this point or until they absolutely have to make that determination. But when you are the 1 seed, generally the advantage you have in a 1-4 matchup is you can pitch off if you want to. Whereas I don't think LSU has that luxury against Wofford, knowing that North Carolina's next. You're going to throw your best 2 guys in those first 2 games because if you don't start 2-0, I don't really see a path for LSU in this tournament to come back from a loser's bracket situation. We saw this team struggle all year in game 3s. So if you start 2-0 and play your way in the winner's bracket in a regional, you can win it. If you win your first 2 games of a super, obviously you go to Omaha. But if it forces a game 3, I mean, they won 2 game 3s of a weekend all season long in conference play. So, it's stating the obvious. But yes, LSU needs to play its way through the winner's bracket. So Jump, Holman, Jump, however it goes, I fully expect those will be the guys that get the ball. Carolina has a little more flexibility because they're going to be the presumed favorite over Long Island no matter who pitches. All right. It's After Further Review brought to you by South Point Volkswagen. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Hey, remember, I tell you all the time about their certified pre-owned. Maybe you've got that high school or college graduate in your family. Maybe it's a son, a daughter, whatever it may be, and you're trying to get them a vehicle as a graduation present, maybe to send them off to college. Yes, you can always go buy a brand new Volkswagen from South Point. Like right now, on their TD4, they've got 0% for 72 months. Got amazing deals right now as the Memorial Day weekend sales continue on. But remember, their certified pre-owned inventory. Yes, they have certified pre-owned Volkswagens, but they have all different makes and models. So it's worth a shout to go and see our friends. If you're looking to buy certified pre-owned, shop South Point Volkswagen. They got your Volkswagens, but all different makes and models. People come in, trade in their old car. Boom. You got a great selection of certified pre-owned vehicles at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, we'll do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up the hour. David Dellucci here in 15 minutes. We'll get his thoughts on LSU's draw and the rest of the SEC field. With 11 teams getting in, Mississippi State's kind of the one that got hosed and not being a host side. I can only imagine, like if LSU has a 17-win team in the SEC with a top 30 RPI, if LSU was not hosting, we would be screaming bloody murder, and justifiably so, and I think State got hosed in that respect. But we'll get Lucha's thoughts on that coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. Also, Dennis Allen met with reporters after day 4 of OTAs. We'll let you hear some of what DA had to say coming up here in just a smidge. Okay, we'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros. Stay here.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries, actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated. You know, one thing that I've learned over the years when we talk about industrial contractors and working in, refineries and the petrochemical plants, is you do not get hired without having an exemplary safety record. Like, that is number one. It's a non-starter. Well, Action Industries, their safety record beats the industry standard. They've won all kind of safety awards over the years. And then once you're in the plan, you've got to do exceptional work to be rehired over and over again. Well, the fact that they've been in business since 1982, 42 years, tells you the quality of their work at Action Industries. They're a proud partner of LSU Athletics. They love to be local. They've got 2 locations, Belrose and Geismar. In fact, I mean, you can go by, see their office right there on Highway 30 in Geismar as well. Or you can visit them online or check out their LinkedIn. If you're a turnaround coordinator or maintenance manager, you need to check out our friends at Action Industries.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
If it runs like a deer, her eyes light up. She must be a keeper. Speaking of which, heard Muse is getting married. Huh, Muse? We determined that?
No, we didn't.
No, didn't get to it. No. Well, soon. Soon, right? You know what, Muse? When you get married, I'm bringing a tractor. You know what? I think I'll talk to my friends over at Sunshine and see if your getaway vehicle, like when you leave the reception, what if you get in like one of those big combines?
I'd rather the tractor than the combine.
I don't know, man. Those combines are pretty sweet. I mean, right, they're air conditioned, all that sort of thing in there. It's good. Either way, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. All right, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, well, Gavin Dugas is getting a call up to high A. Yeah, it's been a great year for Dugas so far in single A ball. Of course, in the Nationals organization, hit 340 in 27 games in single A, and now will be with high A Wilmington Blue Rocks. So we'll have to keep you posted here on more with Gavin Dugas.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. You know what Sha'Carri Richardson's doing?
Winning races.
Yes, and doing it running very, very, very fast.
Yes, she is.
Continues to what they call here her revenge tour. This was Saturday at the pre-classic over at Hayward Field. 100-meter dash, season best, 10.83 seconds. Not even close. Your second-place finisher was St. Luce's Julian Alfred, 10.93. Great Britain's Dina Asher-Smith finished third, and the reigning gold medalist Elaine Thompson-Herah finished last, 11.30. So Sha'Carri barreling down the track, looking for gold in this summer's Olympics.
Let's go. Revenge tour.
Also looking for gold in this summer Olympics, the duo of Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss, LSU Beach Volleyball.
Glad you remember.
Yeah, you like that. Incredible comeback for them this past weekend.
Tell me all about it.
Lost the first set, 21-17. Nail-biter in the second set, but they come out on top 28-26 and then win it 15-10 to take gold medal. Taryn Cloth described the stadium conditions, swirly tornado windstorm. So it wasn't tough. It wasn't easy, but they got it done, and they looked good. They beat a Swiss team, I should say. Yeah. They look for gold, obviously, in this summer
Look at you
Olympics
with that show prep there, Muse.
How about that?
Look at that.
It's all good stuff, man. Nas Reed over the weekend.
Should have stayed.
He should have. They're down 3-0. I don't know if you've seen that, but he had another pretty good game. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. That season could end tonight, though, in that 3-0 game. Yeah, that's Tigers in the press.
How about if we get 2 sweeps? Wouldn't that be something?
It's not what you're accustomed to seeing.
I don't think that's what the networks were hoping for.
Definitely not.
Pacers completely gagged away 3 games. Rick Carlisle, in the final 3 minutes of the game last night, they scored 0 points.
It's not what you're looking for
at home. 0 points.
That's not what you're
It's not a good thing. It's bad. You're not going to win a lot that way.
Nope.
Okay. David Dellucci joins us right after Sports Center. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Y'all, summer is here. People hitting the road to the beach, wherever it may be. Kids are out of school. You know you got to make sure that the old station wagon is ready to roll because lots of people still drive station wagons. Not really. But whatever it is you drive. The grocery getter. Before you take it east to the beach, make sure you take it first to Shawbills. Any of their 18 locations across South Louisiana. You can go to ShawbillsTire.com to schedule your service if you need an oil change, if you need your tires rotated, if the brakes are squeaking. Maybe you need new tires. You need Shawbills because they're going to sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. They guarantee it, as a matter of fact. And they're going to treat you like family. We'll just keep you coming back year after year after year. It's Shawbills. Go to the website. Get all the promotions there with the promotions tab. See how you can save on new tires at Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It's win or the season's over for the Timberwolves tonight. Down 3-0. Minnesota's at Dallas for Game 4 of the NBA's Western Conference Finals. Fatigue likely one factor for a Wolves team in the conference finals for the first time in 2 decades. 3-time NBA champion Udonis Haslem.
Inexperience, I think, a little bit has to do with Ant-Man running out of gas a little bit. I understand that, you want to take the challenge on both ends and you want to be the guy that guard Kyrie. But it's a little bit different when the guy's going off 60 pick and rolls. You got to get over, you got to get under, you got to get through, and then you got to create all the offense on the other end. So I think Ant-Man got a little fatigued mentally and physically. And I also think Cat just has to shoot a little better.
Udonis Haslem on unsportsmanlike. Anthony Edwards averaging 22 points a game in the series. Game 4, 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio. NHL East Final down 2-0. Panthers-Rangers tonight. Game 4, 8 Eastern, ESPN. NFL, the Texans and receiver Nico Collins agreed to a 3-year, $72 million extension, $52 million guaranteed. Lexi Thompson, one of the biggest stars in women's pro golf the last 15 years, announced that this will be her final season on the LPGA Tour.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Plague. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Hope everybody had an awesome Memorial Day week, a safe Memorial Day weekend. And we got baseball, postseason baseball, ready to play this weekend. David Dellucci, SEC Network, good enough to join us as he does every Monday, but good enough to join us here on this Tuesday. Luch, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. We made it.
I know,
we
man.
We made it.
And you know what? It was touch and go for the Tigers for a bulk of the season. But this day, it means more when your team's in the field and you have something to be excited about. And if you're LSU, Luch, I mean, I've said it all day today. I think most people probably share the sentiment. I'm not sure LSU could have gotten a more favorable draw based on their lot, right? Thoughts on LSU's draw?
I think it's a great draw. I think that it's well-deserved for what they were able to accomplish toward the end of the year. It's not going to be easy, man. Any team that makes it to the NCAA regional made it for a reason. They made it because they were either hot or they're a very good team nationally or in their conference. So what I do look at and what I do feel is going to be the case this year more than any other year is there's some great teams out there, but I don't believe the Southeastern Conference has been as competitive as it was this year. And I know from personal experience, when you in the SEC and you leave the SEC tournament, you can't wait to see opposition that was not in your conference, because it's a whole lot easier when you face pitchers that are not projected to be in the top 3 rounds or potential big leaguers. This is a breath of fresh air and an opportunity for an offense that has faced the top of the list when it comes to opposition on the mound. They're going to face some average dudes now, and there'll be some good ones here and there, but nothing like what they faced through the gauntlet of the season.
What did you think about Mississippi State not hosting?
I was disappointed. We made their case Sunday night on the Rally Cap show, and you know, every single year you have some questions for the committee that you just scratch your head and go, I wonder why they chose this, and it just doesn't make sense. And to leave Starkville out, I think is a disservice to college baseball. It's one of the most amazing spots to host a regional. It is awesome for a backdrop for an ESPN or ESPNU or SEC network game. And I just think they earned it, man. And you know, we hear all this stuff about RPI and you got to be here and you got to be there. Well, they allowed a team to get in there that had a lower RPI than they did. And Arizona and ECU are two teams that, you know, just were questionable to me. Mississippi State was 17 wins. They said their RPI needed to be in the teens, and it was 24. You mean to tell me that 6 spots off of the RPI dictates whether or not you have a host that brings 16,000 people to a game? Disappointing, but I think they'll play with a chip on their shoulder.
What about Florida getting in the field?
Number one strength of schedule carried them through the conversation, and very similar to the other teams that were quote-unquote on the bubble. Florida had 13 wins. They were 1 and out, so they really didn't help their cause. And basically they had to sit around and hope that one of the other bubble teams nationally didn't make it. And the bubble was very small this year. So Florida has a chance to redemption. We will see. Now, they played better as the year went on. Their freshmen matured, especially on the mound. And we get an opportunity to see Jack Caglione for one more year, who's one of the best two-way players ever graced the game. So hopefully Florida takes advantage of it and they play like they're capable of.
David Dellucci is with us, SEC Network. What else? I mean, those are the ones I think everybody's talking about. When you look at the 11 SEC teams that got in, what regional jumps to your mind for one reason or another, good or bad?
Bad would be the Tallahassee regional for Alabama, and that's another bubble team that they won some huge games. They have 15 quad one wins, which means they beat some really good teams through the course of the year. Big series victories against Arkansas, I think Tennessee, A&M. And then they get into the tournament, and they're going to face a very hot Florida State Seminole team that absolutely waxed University of Florida throughout the course of the year. They're a good team. They also have Stetson and UCF in that regional, and that to me is one of the tougher regionals. So, look, if you don't make a better case for yourself, you can't pick and choose where you're going to get to go, but they got their work cut out for them.
Luch, does LSU being in Chapel Hill and being paired with Tucson, I mean, they effectively, Luch, they avoid potentially having to go to an SEC super regional site. Is that the most favorable draw? Is there another SEC team that you look at and say, what is the antithesis of what Bama got? I mean, is there another that you think maybe got a favorable draw?
No, not really, because Tennessee has they're hosting their number 1 seed, and if they win and Wake Forest wins, they're going to play each other in a super. That is not easy at all. Kentucky's got potentially Oregon State. That is not easy. Texas A&M has Texas in their own bracket, and UL Lafayette. That's not easy. So yeah, I mean, I think LSU has a great draw. I feel like maybe Jay Johnson's former team, being University of Arizona, had something to do with them being paired with the Tucson Regional. That would be a very watched super regional as both teams get there. But man, I mean, I'm just looking and considering LSU's offense and considering the pitchers that they're going to face potentially in this regional itself. I'm telling you, the hitters have just got to be really pleased with what they're going to have in front of them.
David Dellucci's with us on Twitter at David Dellucci. SEC Network, of course, you can catch him there. Luch was over in Hoover for the SEC tournament. Luch, there's a couple different ways we look at LSU's week there. Of course, to win 4 games, to make it all the way to the championship as a double-digit seed was incredible. I wonder, though, when you do look at the fact that Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, when they played them, they were basically having bullpen days. So LSU didn't beat an ace on any of those days. So how do we really qualify what LSU was able to do? I mean, we know Jump and Holman are great. How do we qualify what LSU was able to do offensively over that those days in Hoover?
Well, I'd put up some of these bullpen guys to other teams' aces, to be honest with you. I know LSU is going to most likely face a real ace that Wofford has in Zach Cohen.
Yeah.
He's got 3 complete games this year and is pitched really well. I think his ERA is just under 4. But come on now. I mean, where would he be in an SEC rotation? That one, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's a very good pitcher, but I don't think he's had to pitch against Kentucky and Tennessee and all these other teams. So there'll be some good guys out there. Now, equivalent to what LSU faced, I saw some really good pitching that every team threw up. There was a pitcher or two that was just not a big name guy that stepped up and just absolutely mowed during the course of the tournament. So I still thought they faced great pitching. I thought they faced better pitching than they will consistently in the regional and potential super regional. A lot of these teams have one good pitcher, and if you knock that pitcher out, then they unleash a bullpen that LSU should feast on. It should be basically what they saw midweek games throughout the year.
LSU and North Carolina are effectively co-favorites. UNC's -110, LSU's +110 in the Chapel Hill Regional. But, Luch, LSU has the third – I was looking at DraftKings earlier today – the third best odds to win the national championship of any team in the country. How would you put a degree of probability? Like, if you asked me LSU or the field, of course you take the field. But how do you put a degree of probability on LSU getting hot, making a run, and ending up back in Omaha?
I think it's great, Matt. I think that, you see teams throughout the past several College World Series runs that have made it that were not necessarily the best team, but the hottest team. The closest example has been Ole Miss.
Sure.
It's the team that has the momentum. It's the team that believes that they're capable of winning it all. And it's the team that is comfortable in that routine. And that's the other thing is LSU's been here, done that. These guys are used to the media coverage. They're used to the wacky schedule, which they played a wacky schedule in Hoover. They're used to everything that they're about to go through. So it's the first-timers or the players that get overwhelmed. The other thing is a lot of these schools, their goal at the beginning of the season or in the fall is to make it to the regional, and that is bad. LSU's goal is to win the national championship. So a lot of these teams have reached their quote-unquote promised land, and they really haven't thought about what to do or what it'll take to go all the way. LSU lives that every single year. They expect to be in this situation. So there's a lot of advantages to them. And they won 7 games in a row before they were eliminated in the championship game of the tournament. I mean, they're absolutely on fire. And it was big games where the offense put up tons of runs. And that was the biggest question mark during the course of the year was, is the offense ever going to come up? Well, they've stepped up. And you got a bona fide 1-2
Yeah.
who pitched great. Griffin Herring is as rested as can be. So you've got some pieces in that bullpen that are ready to rock. The concern may be a Christian Little or a couple other arms, how they're going to do. But I think LSU, at this point, compared to last year, you still were unsure who your number 2 guy was going to be last year. I think LSU can take a deep breath and know we've got a number 1, we've got a number 2, we can match up with anybody.
David Dellucci, man, hopefully we get a chance, Luch, next Monday to talk again. I mean, there'll still be regionals going on, obviously, on Monday. But, man, what a fun time of year. And you got 11 SEC teams still playing ball. Catch Luch on the SEC Network. Man, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, man. We'll do it again. That's David Dellucci. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Saints are back on the practice field today for the 4th day of OTAs. Dennis Allen met with reporters afterwards. We'll let you hear some what DA had to say, including announcing Tano Passanio tore his Achilles this offseason. What's his prognosis and probability for returning at some point this year? We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
I did not know this until I opened up social media earlier today and saw the Rouse's page, but today is National Hamburger Day. Who doesn't love a hamburger? I got an idea. Get by Rouse's. They have in-house patties that are amazing. Premium meat, seasoned to perfection, ready to grill. Just get your patty, get that grill hot, slap it on there, and celebrate National Hamburger Day. Look, when you go to Rouse's, they select only the best grinds for their gourmet patties. They're expertly crafted. I'm getting hungry just thinking about this right now. They have skilled butchers that grind and form each patty by hand. And it's ready to grill. There's no prep required. So when you go to Rouse's, you grab their hamburger patties that's ready to grill. Just throw it on the grill and you're ready to roll. So celebrate National Hamburger today with some hamburgers. Go get those patties at Rouse's. Make it a summertime treat. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When things heat up, you don't just want a cold one. You want the coldest one. The cold lagered, cold filtered, cold packaged one. Mountain Cold Refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, glad you're rolling along. You can always email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. A reminder, Thursday we'll be announcing the winners for our UFC VIP watch party coming up this Saturday at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge here in Baton Rouge. So no matter where you live, you can make it to Baton Rouge. You can enter to win. It's free to enter. Just text the word diamond, as in Dustin Poirier's nickname, 225-396-4400. Thursday on the show, we'll announce our winners. We'll have 8 winners. Every winner gets 2 guests. You'll get VIP seating right in front of the big screen at a VIP table. Free food, all the Bud Light you can drink, all throughout the fights. Of course, Bud Light, the official beer of the AFR, the official beer of the UFC. Dustin the Diamond Poirier is an endorser of Bud Light as well. Now they just announced that partnership about a month ago. So some great synergies. We're excited. We'll have plenty of 104.5 ESPN swag, and our friends at Bud Light and Mockler will be there with a lot of Bud Light swag, free beers and drink specials all throughout the night. We'll watch the fights and hopefully watch Dustin the Diamond Poirier take down Islam Makhachev at UFC 302 this Saturday. We'll be at the Sportsbook at L'Auberge, so we'll see you there. Okay. Saints had the 4th day of OTAs on Tuesday. Dennis Allen met with reporters afterwards, and the most newsworthy item was some disappointing news for Saints defensive end Tano Passanio.
No, Tano tore his Achilles in the offseason, so he's going to be out for a little while, and so he won't be ready for training camp, and then we'll see how long that takes for him to recover.
You always worry about an Achilles because it's such an important, a critical injury for explosive players. A lot of times, see basketball players have the Achilles injury and never come back and actually be themselves again. Then there's times where a guy like Kevin Durant tore his Achilles and is still going on to be an MVP caliber player. The one that always stands out to me the most was Sheldon Rankins. When Sheldon Rankins in that 2018 postseason tore his Achilles and was back for the start of the next season and looked like he didn't miss a beat. So, yeah, I mean, there are young athletic dudes who come back from that and go on and have a great career. So we'll see what this means for Tano. But the thing Dennis Allen was pretty clear about there is Tano's not going to be ready for training camp. And the thing about Tano Passanio when the Saints brought him in from Kansas City is that the first year he was in New Orleans, he had some injury issues, had the ankle injury, missed about half the season. But since then, Tano Passanio has been really reliable. In 22, he played in 15 games. This past year, played in all 17 games for New Orleans. And he's been a consistent rotation piece where you've got Cam Jordan on one side and Carl Granderson, who they paid and had a breakout year last year. I mean, Granderson had 78 tackles, which was 3rd on the team, behind only the 2 linebackers, Demario Davis and Pete Werner. I mean, Carl Granderson was awesome last year. 8.5 sacks, 14 TFLs. So Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson are your starting tandem, and you know that. And so you look at the rotation piece, and Tano was part of that, may still be, but you bring in Chase Young this year, and so you really feel like if you're looking at a 4-man rotation at defensive end, Cam Jordan, Carl Granderson are your known starters, and Cam I do throw up there with a little bit of a question mark. Because Cam Jordan is coming off the least productive year of his career since his rookie season. And it may just be that we've waited for that time where we were going to start to see Cam's inevitable decline, as every great player has as they age. And maybe it's now. Or maybe with Granderson and bringing in Chase Young, they have a better rotation and there's less pressure on him. Maybe it provides more flexibility, kick him inside. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe it's just the fact that you're talking about a guy moving toward his mid-30s that's just near the end of his career and is showing it. But if Jordan and Granderson are your first 2 and Chase Young is going to be part of that rotation we fully expect, the real question is who else is there? And this is one of the exciting position battles to watch in camp, that Tano Passanio's injury really sets him back because I don't think he's a lock to make the team now. Because when you look at it, you've got Isaiah Foskey, who you used a second-round pick on. Now, Foskey was a healthy scratch for a bulk of last year, but you invested enough capital in him to where you're going to give him a shot. You got Foskey. You got Peyton Turner, who this is the final year of his rookie contract, former first-round draft pick. This is, literally his contract year. It is a make or break for Peyton Turner now, and I don't have great confidence in Peyton Turner. I believe we know what he is at this point, but there's two players that you invested a ton of draft capital on, a first-round pick and a high second-round pick on Turner and Foskey, respectively, trying to earn a roster spot. And then Tano is injured and is not going to be there for training camp. And then you look at guys like Nico Lalos, Trajan Jeffcoat, who the Saints signed as an undrafted free agent who spent his career at Missouri and Arkansas. We had on the show a few weeks back, who I think is a perfect fit for this Saints defense. Now, you got an uphill climb to make the team as an undrafted free agent. And then there's Nate Latu as well. So you got some of these young guys that are also trying to earn a roster spot. You know, if Tano Passanio was healthy, I could very easily look and go, all right, well, you got Cam, Granderson, Chase Young, Tano, and then maybe one of the other draft picks, if it's Foskey or Turner, however it may be. But you're at the point now with Peyton Turner where you may just have to cut him. Like, you're not going to, it's year 4. If he's not going to be a viable option, you have better players, you've given him enough time. You didn't exercise his 5th-year option, nor should you have. But I don't think it's a given for Peyton Turner, so I think the door is open, and maybe even more so now with Tano Passanio's injury for one of those young guys, maybe to step up and win a job on this roster. So I think, if nothing else, the interest and the curiosity, the opportunity around defensive end in camp has ratcheted up because there's a spot now due to Tano Passanio's injury. And speaking of that spot, one of the things that Dennis Allen was asked about was Carl Granderson. I just ran through it. Think about that. From the defensive end spot, Carl Granderson had 78 tackles. Again, your leading tacklers were Demario Davis, Pete Werner, and then the third leading tackler was Carl Granderson, more even than Tyrann Mathieu. Paulson Adebo was 4th, and then you got to go to Alontae Taylor, Tyrann, Colin Saunders, Nathan Shepard, Lattimore, Cam Jordan with 43 tackles was next among the defensive ends. Granderson had 78 stops. He was awesome last year. So how do you go from that career year and build on it? That's what DA was asked on Tuesday.
I don't think we need to focus so much on what's the next step. It's just continuing through the process, and if you continue through the process and do the things that we're asking you to do, just by the nature of that work, you're going to improve. And so I think really for Carl, it's just keep coming out here and keep working on your craft and keep doing all the things that allowed you to have a jump in production. It was because of the way you worked. It was because of the way you practiced. It was because of the way you met. I think that's where the focus is, and I think if he does that through experience, naturally he's going to get better.
For all the, I believe, the just due criticism that I and others have levied on Dennis Allen, the head coach, which I believe is warranted, for all the reasons we've talked about for literally years now. The 180 of that, which is also true, is that Dennis Allen deserves praise as the defensive coordinator, because for as long as he has been in New Orleans, the Saints have been steady on defense because of him. He's a very good NFL defensive mind. You can be a great defensive coordinator and not be a good head coach, and I think that's what we have with Dennis Allen here. But one of the interesting things, though, is to see how DA and this defensive staff work on different alignments and looks. For example, like, do we see more of Cam Jordan play an interior position as a really good run stuffer, but to get extra pass rushers on the field? The same is also true if you look at potential 3 linebacker looks. Like, you've got Demario Davis and Pete Werner, but you add Willie Gay, again, who signed a 1-year deal, and this is a big-time prove-it year for Willie Gay at a time where you're looking at linebacker and saying, okay, well, how much longer will Demario Davis play at this level? Do we extend Pete Werner, or is he a guy that moves on in free agency? Well, how you use the 3 of them potentially on the field at the same time is really interesting. That's something Dennis Allen was asked about on Tuesday as well.
Here's the reality, like we don't necessarily control that, on defense all the time. A lot of what we do is dictated on the personnel that the offense is putting out on the field. And so the more athletic they get and the more fast players they put out on the field, typically we play a matchup type of game. And so, I think we'll have to see as we, go through training camp, we get a little bit better feel for all the things that Willie can actually do. And then we'll evaluate, how we want to deploy our guys based on what the offense is doing.
I mean, DeMario Davis had 121 tackles last year, and Pete Werner had 93. So you had two very productive linebackers. In Kansas City last year, Willie Gay had 44 solo stops for the Chiefs a year ago and 58 total tackles. So roughly like half of the production of DeMario Davis. So can you see that ratchet up? He's had a better year. Look, 2022 for the Chiefs, Willie Gay had 88 tackles. I mean, he went in his career, he went from 39 to 48 to 88 tackles, and then last year, 58. You saw the production drop, and then he moved on in free agency. So can the Saints find a way to get some of that production back from Willie Gay amid that linebacker room? I think you're undeniably better. You're deeper. You're better at linebacker this year. And I think Willie Gay is going to be a part of that. All right. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Of course, OTAs will continue on for the New Orleans Saints, and as they do, we'll talk more about it when there's more to talk about. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where I tell you all the time, you will never see a lab or man-made diamond in the case at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You will only find the finest diamonds from the best diamond mines in the world. I mean, Scott goes on these diamond buying trips throughout the year to make sure they're fully stocked with the best selection of the most beautiful diamonds in the world at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Man-made or lab diamonds, that's a technology play. I mean, who knows what you're actually buying? Will it hold value? I don't know. But man, when you walk into Lee Michaels and you look in the case and you're buying that diamond that she's going to look at her finger forever, that ring, and be thrilled, you know what you're buying at Lee Michaels. You know what you're really getting. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Again, 9 locations, 2 in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport, all over the state. They're just the best. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. lmfj.com. All right, y'all. It's After Further Review. If you want to join us, you can. Email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. I want to circle back here before we get to Otter Locks. I think Jimmy just texted us. Did he give us a play? We got Reds money line?
Yeah, Reds money line.
All right, so Jimmy gave us a pick here early if you want to get in. Did that start at 5:30? I didn't look. Did you see it?
I didn't look. I'm
okay.
Sorry.
No worries. All right, so Reds money line is the early play. We'll get Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, I want to circle back to a little bit of what Jay Johnson had to say when he met with reporters. We've sprinkled in and dabbled in a lot of LSU baseball throughout the day. I opened the show giving you my full thoughts on how the SEC tournament ended, and then also LSU's regional draw, which I think is I cannot imagine having gotten a more favorable draw. I mean, even if you had gone to Santa Barbara or something like that, you would have been paired with an SEC, like you would have been going to Fayetteville or to Knoxville or to College Station. I mean, yes, you drew the highest seeded non-SEC regional, but it feels like an inherently winnable regional. And if you win it, you're going to Tucson. And if there's an upset in Tucson, you get to play the Super Regional home. I don't know that if you're LSU, given your circumstance, you could have hoped for a better draw than what LSU got. So I want to talk a little bit, let's hear a little bit about what Jay Johnson had to say, pitching, traveling, time change, Christian Little, all that sort of stuff. We'll get to it here as we continue. We're glad you're with us on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Of course, Gordon and the team wish all the LSU Tigers best of luck here in the postseason as they make a march toward another hopeful Omaha run, where last year we all became well acquainted with the 8,888 Jell-O shots that Gordon bought over at Rocco's, obliterating the Jello shot record, one that will never, ever, ever be touched unless if LSU makes again, and then they'll just obliterate that record because that's what we do. But, of course, Gordon's done amazing work with the G team and members of the G team that are part of this Tiger baseball team that are hopefully making this run back to Omaha. So, as we always say, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or you can always call 888-8888, 888-8888. Go to getgordon.com. If it's Alex Milazzo and Hayden Travinsky and Gavin Guidry, so many members of this Tiger team are part of the G team as well. So you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
Open up a throttle and stir a little dust. Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Our Rad Dad contest is back, presented by Roaming Shot Outdoors and Shooting Range. Upload a picture of your dad doing dad things to 1045ESPN.com for a chance to win him a Blackstone grill with all the accessories, 1 long-range shooting school class for 2 from Roaming Shot Outdoors and Shooting Range, steaks from Chris's Specialty Foods, a Hawk Soap gift basket, and a full throttle package from Finish Line Haircuts. We'll be choosing a winner June 14th. Happy Father's Day from Roaming Shot Shooting Range in 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got it.
You got all that? That's a lot.
That's a big.
Admittedly,
that's a lot of prize. That's a lot of prize to win.
It's a lot of words, too.
A lot of words to say. And we know, especially this time of day, our friend Muse generally struggles with words. Am I right, Paulie?
Chill
Am
out.
I right, Paulie? Does he just generally struggle to say words?
You're right, yeah.
So wait, if I could, you're going to like this. If I could.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to be at a Memorial Day party yesterday. The bride and groom from the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But I couldn't make it. So I had something come up, and I thought I was going to be able to go after, but it ended up going too long. I couldn't go. And he was texting me, and I told him that. He goes, "It's understandable." He goes, "But all your weed bros were here." I was just like, I'm gonna have to tell Moscona that.
Well, you just did, and you acknowledged your weed bros.
That's not well. We're not actually weed bros, just guys who like to have a good time.
Paulie, did he and his friend have a conversation not associated with the show where he very clearly referred to he and his friends as weed bros?
That sounds like what happened, yeah.
It kind of. That is an association with the show because that's what you said on the show whenever we played the video it was all Muso's weed bros, and he was just repeating that. There's a loose association there.
What do you think about that, Paul?
I think that was him admitting it.
That's kind of what I got from the whole thing.
Here I am thinking it'd just be a funny story, and it just,
Jay Johnson met with reporters on Monday, had this to say about LSU's regional draw.
Obviously, you're talking about great teams. I believe it. Carolina won the ACC. Wofford just won their conference tournament. I know that they played 7 games this past week to accomplish that feat. So, it's a team that has toughness to it. And congratulations to Long Island. Don't know anything about them, but their enthusiasm when they were announced, that always sticks out to me. Been at programs, where that's a big day when you get that automatic bid as a mid-major that's a one-bid league. So, playing 3 championship teams. So that's awesome.
Don't know anything about him. Not going to play him. Don't care. But awesome video cheering. I did say I wanted to see the reaction, of the reaction video of the team when they saw LSU pop up into their regional. Scott Forbes handled it about as well as you could publicly anyway. But I'd imagine if you're in Chapel Hill today, you're not super pumped to see LSU on the 2 line coming there. Now, that means Jump and Holman in whatever order they go. One thing is for certain. After we all watched Jay Johnson throw Paul Skeens against Tulane last year in a 1-4 matchup, he is going to throw either Jump or Holman. My suspicion is he's going to throw Gage Jump. He's going to keep the guys on their regular day. And he'll have Holman for what we all hope is the marble game or a game to save your season. But now, after having thrown Tuesday, Wednesday at the SC tournament, they're going to get long rest. Jump and Holman will. And here was Jay talking about those 2 guys getting extended rest.
I think it's good. It's needed because, those are workhorse-type pitchers. And the best teams I've had have workhorse-type pitchers. Just thinking about the Omaha teams, Nathan Bannister, Bobby Dahlbeck in 16, Chase Silseth, Garrett Irvin in 21, obviously Paul Skeens, Ty Floyd, and 23. So they fit that. And, I've won a lot of games with just average dudes. It's so nice just to be able to run really good dudes out there, man. I'm telling you, it's been awesome. I'm not going to lie.
You mean it's different than when you're at San Diego throwing Skippy from the local community college than when you have Paul Skeens or Blue Coleman or Gage Jump? Yeah, I bet it is a little different when you go, hey, kid, here's the ball. Go get me 6. It's just a little different feeling. And he's seen it from both ends of it. So, I'm sure Jay will wait until the absolute last minute to announce what his pitching plan is going to be. That's just what he does, and he's not wrong in doing that for whatever competitive advantage he thinks. You make other coaching staffs have to spend more time prepping for other teams, or for other potential pitching possibilities. But I said it in the open, I'll say it again. I know I've been asked a bunch by people, should they pitch off? Last year, LSU should have pitched off. Last year, you should not have thrown Paul Skeens against Tulane. It worked out, I get it. But it was a careless decision. It was a reckless decision to burn the best pitcher any of us have ever seen against a 4 seed that was a sub-500 team. It worked. This is a different reality. You're facing a Wofford team, which, yes, Wofford has played 1 game all year against a Power 5 team. They got run-ruled by Georgia 18-8. But Wofford has an ace, and they hit 340 as a team. You're not messing around because you don't have the luxury of with this team of coming out of the losers bracket. So we all hope at 11 a.m. Central Time on Friday that LSU's bats show up and they go bonkers like they did in Hoover. That would be awesome. But if they don't, you're going to be really glad you got Gage Jump eating up innings for you and saving your bullpen and helping you win that game to put you into the Marvel game where you can hand the ball to Luke Holman and say, here, dude, go get me 6 2/3 and let me hand it off to Griffin Herring and Gavin Gidger or whoever's there to go put you in the driver's seat in this regional, potentially play a super regional back at the box. So I would be stunned if Jay went any other route than Jump, Holman, in whatever order he wants to go. But those first 2 games, it's going to be Jump, Holman, or Holman, Jump. My suspicion is he'll stick with the order that's worked for them since the Missouri series and go with Gage Jump against Wofford on Friday. And I do believe that is the right decision to make in this regional, in this setting. All right, it's after further review. I had a great convo with Leighton, Chef Leighton over at Supper Club last week. And it was so interesting because, this is a time of year where a lot of people hit the road. You go on vacation, whatever the case may be. But for a lot of people who aren't heading to the beach or you aren't going on vacation, consider a night at Supper Club as part of maybe like a staycation. And I know a lot of people come into Supper Club from all over the state of Louisiana because of the food experience. So Supper Club has done an amazing job of being known as sort of the party place, right? The celebration destination because it's so fun and it's chic. And they love to say that it's like Supper Club is sophisticated but playful, styled but welcoming. A lot of people might be intimidated by Supper Club, but the great thing about when you sit down, they don't bring you all these different types of breads with 7 different types of butters. They bring you French fries because it's disarming. Everything is thoughtful. Everything has been thought through at Supper Club. So if you're not going out of town and you're maybe having a staycation or you're coming in from Lafayette or New Orleans or Alec for the night and you're going to stay a night in Baton Rouge, make Supper Club part of your staycation as well. I mean, it's almost like, I've said it before, it's like they took Las Vegas and dropped it in the middle of Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. I mean, there's no windows like when you're in Las Vegas. Everything from the fun flooring and the curved walls, everything, the high-end whiskey selection, all of the spirits. It's an amazing, fun atmosphere, but the food is the thing that sets Supper Club apart. I'm excited, y'all, because they did give me a sneak peek. Coming up on June the 4th, so next Tuesday, they're unveiling a few new menu items that I'm so excited to be able to tell you about. But they're open right now. They open Tuesday to Saturday. It is open seating at the bar, so walk-ins are welcome. A lot of people think, I don't have a reservation. They sometimes have late cancellations as well, so it's always worth giving them a call to see if they have a table available tonight or any night. It's worth doing that. Make Supper Club part of your staycation here this summer. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Supper Club, your party destination, your celebration destination, and then with the best meal you will ever have, certainly in the state of Louisiana. SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all. Otter's going to be here for little Otter Locks coming up. He did give us the one play already. Reds money line was the first play that Otter gave us. One more thing from Jay Johnson. Can you play number 2, please? He did run through the schedule for LSU this week before they head to Chapel Hill on Wednesday.
So those guys will be in the training room today. Tomorrow we'll have a light workout, which will consist of mostly in the cages. The strength and conditioning piece will be important tomorrow because we played just about every day of last week. We'll have a regular or more normal practice on Wednesday to cover some things that we uncover, about our opponent on Friday. And then we'll probably shower and eat here and then leave mid to late afternoon and then get there, get a good night's rest. It's a 1-hour time change. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm always very sensitive to that. So getting there Wednesday I think is important. And then we'll have the practice day. You get like an hour and 15 minutes, I believe, on the field on Thursday. And then Friday, I don't know what time we play. I know we're playing Wofford, and from there it's one pitch at a time.
Of course, we know it's 11 a.m. Friday, Central, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, and the winner's bracket game is at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So should LSU beat Wofford. They play at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So it's ahead of you, and regional time is here, man. It's a great time of year. Okay, after further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks. Don't you move.
AFR.
Man, if you are going through the hiring rat race, if you're a business owner, I've been telling you now for months about Glow Resources, and it is time for you to discover Glow Resources. Let this be the gentle or not so gentle nudge to pick up the phone or to go to the website, glowresources.com, G-L-O, glowresources.com. You may think, well, Matt, I'm not in Baton Rouge. Doesn't matter. Their headquarters right here in Baton Rouge, but they've got offices in New Orleans, in Houston, in Miami, in Orlando, in Ridgeland. So, and they work with companies that place employees at jobs all over the world. I mean, I was talking to Jareth, and he reminded me of they work with an engineering firm that hired an engineer out of India that was placed at a job in Africa. So it really doesn't matter if you're talking about skilled blue collar, white collar, C-level management. Glow Resources can help find the perfect employee. G-L-O, glowresources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Farming is a way of life for us. It's not something we get up in the morning and dread going do. It's just something we go to bed at night looking forward to getting up to go do. John Deere equipment is what we as farmers strive to have. It's in your blood, it's in your veins. It's just a part of who you are. Green is what we want to be in. The other tractors were acquired to patch it up to get to where you want to be. Where we want to be is in John Deere. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Big shout out as always to our friends over at Sunshine, proud partner of LSU Athletics, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you?
Doing awesome, man. Glad to be back in the chair, back on air, talking about some regional baseball, man. It's a good time of year.
Yeah, it is fun, man, and it's really fun that we have all the betting options that we do, to win it all, to win the regional, an individual game. So it's a great menu, man, and in some disparity in lines, and a lot of line of movement, man. They're bouncing around all over the place right now.
Surprised at DraftKings, LSU has the third best odds to win the College World Series,
which I think is,
reputation.
You can put absolutely, branding. And before this little run where they won 6 of 7, there was still like 7th choice at 10 and 17 in the league out of the tournament at the time, and there was 7th choice. Now, you tell me the odds is that they eliminate one by one. You said they're going to be one of the last 3 teams left in the tournament? Probably not, but
probably not. But they got a favorable draw, man.
Hanny does not like the draw with North Carolina. Now, certainly at Tucson, you can't argue with that. The Super, but the Power League won it by multiple games in the regular season. So
ACC is not this year what it has been in the past.
I would agree with that. But it's still a good.
Yeah. All right.
So,
well,
but
what are we looking at?
Even Steven, even though they get to play a 4 seed, which is branding again.
1 minute remaining.
All right, Dallas. We're going with the Mavericks. Close it out tonight. We've been talking about this all week, but Dallas minus the 1.5. They're still getting Minnesota action. Finally a game is going under in the finals last night. First 6 is hit, including the first 3 in this one. The first over-under was 206.5, 212.5, a little high. So I would go with Dallas in the under.
Okay.
And then we've got 3 plays in Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Toronto minus 1.5 runs on the road against the White Sox. White Sox worst ROI team, and they cannot hit right now.
Okay.
Miami and Jose Luzardo in the first 5, and we already gave you the Cincinnati Reds.
And Cincinnati, okay. Dallas minus 1.5, the under. Toronto on the run line, Miami first 5, and Cincinnati on the money line. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We're at Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee.
All right, catch Otter and Handy tomorrow. Thank you, Otter.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, man, we'll see you. All right, Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Tell you all the time, with the Williamson Eye Center, it's 3 things: eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. You should always have your annual eye exam, and with all of the different Williamson Eye Center locations around the greater Baton Rouge area, including the newest in the river parishes, they can help you out there. Eyewear. If you do wear contacts or glasses, remember they have the optical shop where you can buy your lenses, your frames, your contacts, all that from the Williamson Eye Center. But if you want to ditch contacts and glasses forever, just schedule a consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020. Go spend 15 minutes talking to Dr. Blake Williamson. Go over your options. Let him explain it to you. And they will always work with you to make sure price isn't an option or isn't an obstacle. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center, This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks